Every Cup race is run in 3 stages. Today, the 500 miles encompass 325 laps. 105 laps, 105, 115 are the stage lengths. 45 miles an hour down pit road. Fuel window 62 to 66 laps. Like
No
Larry
way
said.
they get close to that.
They'll never get close to that. The tire window is, well, it's 1 lap and up, you know, depending on your race strategy.
Save everything you can get. That's what it is.
You have 13 sets of tires. Choose wisely. Pace
Elbows
car.
up, boys.
Pace car hits pit road. For the first of 2 Cup races at Atlanta this season, green flag, we're underway.
Yeah, already seeing 3 wide.
Wide racing surface here. Denny Hamlin takes off with the lead. The inside lane seemed to get a pretty good jump, and watch for that to happen again on restarts later on.
Yeah, so easy to wheel spin with that lower gear when you take off on this front straightaway, and for some reason the outside has a much more difficult time getting that grip. Speaking of one of those guys, Truex is going to try to make it 3 wide. Oh, got the big block by Kevin Harvick.
He was trying to go lower than Harvick.
And you just
not sure that's possible here.
You're talking about low. You see Kevin Harvick looking to the inside of the 11 right here. He locked onto that line like Jeff was talking about at the top of the show. It's almost like a track, folks. You get on there, you hook that left front, and it just takes you right away. Now he's looking to the outside. There was such cool opportunities about this racetrack. If you can't get underneath of him, go around him on the outside.
Well, and one thing Denny Hamlin knows, he studied these past videos of races. He knows Kevin Harvick is going to be hunting for that bottom, and he's going to try to put the block on him aerodynamically. So now Kevin Harvick, no choice but to move up the racetrack.
They are lapping Timmy Hill, who had to do a pass-through because of 3 inspection failures after the drop of the green flag. So he goes a lap down in a hurry here.
And you saw Ryan Blaney make a nice move there. I expect these Penske Fords to be very strong here today. Already Logano there in 3rd.
Ooh, 4 wide out of turn 2. Yikes.
Woo!
That was Kyle Busch on the attack, using that lap car on the bottom to take advantage. Move up a couple spots on the inside.
Well, you brought up a great point right there, Mike. You have to utilize those opportunities. A lap car right there stalls somebody out running that line. Use that an opportunity to use as a pick. And
you saw on board there with Bubba Wallace, his hands. Watch his hands as he tries to run this bottom lane. It's very rough. Your hands are going to be working all day here for 500 miles. That is going to take a toll on those shoulders and that upper body.
Kyle Busch on the outside got 1 coming off turn number 2. He drops to the bottom. Looks like he's going to get another, and it's his teammate Christopher Bell.
One of the hardest things that you're juggling right now at the first of these runs is patience, right? To save your tires, although aggressively doing so. You're wide open throttle right here, navigating through traffic, trying to keep clean air on it. You got to keep that clean air on your nose, because if you don't, being less downforce, it's going to scrub those tires more. You're going to use them up, and you're going to need those longer into a run.
You saw right there Ross Chastain running that high lane. I've seen where that high lane takes a little while to get some rubber laid down into it. Will really eat up those Goodyear tires here in the early stages.
It's a great shot of the 4 car. Kevin Harvick right there, sliding through the corner. Again, you block that left front on the track. Rear end dances around.
Kyle Busch is riding a rocket. He's up 5 spots. The bottom was not open. Chris Buescher very wise to protect the bottom, so now Busch regroups, and look at the speed differential.
Oh yeah, and here's a battle for 3rd place. Kyle Larson going by Joey Logano. But yeah, you saw there with Kyle Busch, that car is extremely fast. I'd almost be worried, Mike, this is too early in the race to be that good. They're going to have to keep up with some adjustments as this track changes.
William Byron moving up on Joey Logano. That's for 4th.
Again, goes back to what I was bringing up earlier. It's so important to get established, get up there in some cleaner air and make some passes early, but you got to be careful not to abuse your car too much, because you're going to need a long run here.
And you saw right there, William Byron tried to run that bottom lane that we talked about to hook the paint. He missed that paint. Look how much time it cost him. He's losing a position to Logano and possibly to the 19 to Truex.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You said position. It's so important. You know, you got to make that pass, but you got to make sure that you get down, because you get into 3, the preferred line is definitely on the bottom.
16th place contact between Stenhouse and Chastain.
Chastain made a really late move. He saw the draft of those two cars.
He was
Stenhouse Jr. running side by side. He was definitely there, but it was a pretty late move, and Stenhouse tried to block it.
He was there, Clint, but Stenhouse was already there.
Not clear is what I'm trying to say.
Kurt Busch, 8th place against Austin Dillon.
You saw Austin Dillon right there, you know, trying to watch these guys get reacclimated to this asphalt. These guys were over at Bristol racing their dirt cars last night. Pretty incredible jump out of that machine into a Cup car.
Trouble early for Tyler Reddick. He's been into the wall.
Second place here, Kyle Larson going by Kevin Harvick. Not easy to do, and he does it on the bottom.
Yeah, with his what we call Harvicking.
This is a classic move right here, where you see Blaney. He knew that the 19, as you see the damage to the right side of the 8 car of Tyler Reddick come down pit road, but the 12 car went to the bottom because he saw that 19 running the high line.
Right side real hard here. Is it down? I don't know, but I hit it way too hard for it not to be.
He was in 20th position.
Had trouble last week at Phoenix the same way, you know, knocking the right side of these cars down early. Gonna have to get this behind them in the rear view, make up some ground. Definitely digging themselves in a hole.
Kurt Busch looks in his mirror. He'll find his younger brother, who's broken into the top 10. Denny Hamlin has led every lap so far in Atlanta. Fox NASCAR is sponsored by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. 16 laps complete. Denny Hamlin has led them all, although his race pace has slowed a full second from lap 1 just 15 laps ago, and he's a second slower than he was at the start of the race. Now, there will be a competition caution at lap 25, 9 laps from now. Here are your USAA biggest movers. Chase Elliott with 2 inspection failures, had to start at the back, and he has gained 20 positions since the start. We've talked about Kyle Busch, who is up 10. Ryan Newman's gained 8. Matt DiBenedetto and Quinn Houff, who also had to start out back due to unapproved adjustments, with big gains.
You said it right there, Mike. Adjustments. We're getting close to competition caution right here, coming up at lap 25. You need these adjustments. There's a lot of guys that are looking for adjustments at this caution break.
Yeah, but what adjustments do you make, right, Clint? Because the way that this race started and the balance that you had on lap 1 or 2 or 3, completely different than what you're having right now at lap 18.
Well, I think that's it. You're balancing all that out. You know, how'd this old girl take off? How is she right now on a long run? That's the communication you're relaying back to the crew chief so he can, you know, formulate a game plan to make some good adjustments. But I tell you, it's all about right now the job that these guys are doing, fending off traffic. You know, we talked about the Harvicking line on the bottom. We talk about the opportunity to pass people on the outside. For me, it's how do I make this car better so I can do the line that I want to be on.
You see Joey Logano losing 7th to Kurt Busch. He has fallen off almost 2 full seconds since the start of the race.
Yeah, Mike, the only Team Penske Ford driver that seems to have speed to maintain here almost through 20 laps is Ryan Blaney in that 12 car. Keselowski's fading, as well as Joey Logano.
And Blaney is 5th.
When Keselowski started in that outside lane, and so he fell back at the very beginning, has just never been able to recover. So big adjustments, I would think, coming. Plus, we'll have that choose box on the next restart. That'll be interesting to see what lane some of these drivers choose.
Saw a snapshot, exactly what we were talking about. You saw the 12 of Ryan Blaney try to pass William Byron, the 24 down on the bottom. He got down there, got the old huckabuck, man. It didn't lack, you know, you got to lock that left front on the track. When he went through 1 and 2, that thing, he got down there, but the rear end come out from underneath of him, slid him up the racetrack, and he lost a lot of ground.
But this is a situation I don't think either of you faced in your Cup careers. Show up to the racetrack, get in the car, drop the green flag, and go.
Well, I did.
He did, but I never did. I don't know how.
And it's
That's
not
right.
fun
You did.
either.
I'm sorry.
I
You
have
did.
no idea how these
I
guys.
appreciate you watching, paying attention to old CB last year, 2020. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah,
You know, I was out there, bud.
I did mention your name a time or two. You're right.
Once or twice, probably.
Yeah.
It.
Well, and it would have happened right here. So you were very strong here a year ago.
You can't oversell this track enough. As a race car driver, it's a challenging race, but it's a fun challenge. It really is.
I'm sorry, Clint. I had my book open to the Jeff Gordon chapter, which is several pages, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, don't forget, you and I have the same number of wins here.
Hey,
Along with
Myers
Chris
used
Myers.
that joke. Yeah,
I know he did.
Appreciate that.
Well,
hey, I didn't like racing against him either. Trust me. How many times you win here anyway?
Oh, just a couple.
Yeah, 5.
4th place.
That's a perfect shot of DiBenedetto just doing such a great job with that left front on the paint. And you see how much of a speed difference there was when he was able to do that and execute it well. Tell you what, old 24 of William Byron, that baby's a little loose because the 12 of Ryan Blaney was able to get to the inside right through the middle of that corner down there in 1 and 2.
2 laps to the competition caution. Now just ahead of this pair is Kevin Harvick. Jamie?
He's holding steady in 3rd right now. Just says it won't turn through the center. He's loose off and needs rear grip. We've been hearing that since lap 10 and from a lot of these drivers. Look for a lot of wedge adjustments and air pressure to help them.
That's exactly the balance that I was speaking of. You have to have a good balance. If you're leaning on the wheel too much, if that thing's too tight, or you can't keep the throttle down, it's too loose with the rear end, you've got to find a balance where you can keep it smooth all the way through the corner.
Another driver that started on that outside lane, made some moves early, is the 19 of Mark Truex Jr., but right now he's trying to hold on to that 10th place. KB still knocking him down, man. That thing is fast. He continues to be strong as he goes to 5th place around the outside of William Byron.
5th from 17th. An impressive run for Kyle Busch and for Chase Elliott.
Hey, did you hear
Who's
that,
worked his
Jeff?
way up to 15th.
Put it out!
Put it out. That's where it all started.
Clint, there's a lot of things about last year that were just a blur once racing stopped. I apologize. NASCAR fans know a thing or two about speed, and we know you're going to love Tubi. Tubi is the fastest way to stream all your favorite movies and shows, and it's totally free. So download Tubi now and enjoy a streaming service that's 100% free for real.
Clint, this is where we get 4 tires and 3 rounds to adjust that huckabuck.
Mike's been over here in this dictionary looking that word up.
As long as you think 3 rounds is going to fix me up, Larry, I'm good with it. I feel like this is a track too because of the long runs, you know, air pressure. You're watching this guy right here put the air in or take it out. I feel like you need it. That's, again, we go back to balance. You know, you got takeoff speed and you got long run speed. Where do you find that balance? And a lot of times you find it right there with air pressure.
When you want those air pressures low for when they build up, right? But then you'll get on that splitter if the air pressure's too low because that spring rate
now you
will
can't
get much
take off.
softer.
31 lead lap cars, so pit road's going to be pretty crowded. Quinn Houff, the free pass.
Well, this is already a crowded pit road. I mean, for a 1.5 mile racetrack, the size of these pit boxes are so small.
Saw that 11 car making adjustments. They have been adjusting air pressure on those tires for about the last 3 or 4 laps, anticipating this stop.
Well, here they come to Jamie.
And Kevin Harvick has a nice opening in front of his pit box. Good call by Rodney Childers in choosing that. He wants to focus on getting it to turn better. They'll make a wedge adjustment, air pressure, and 4 tires. Meanwhile, just a few pits ahead of him, the 18 of Kyle Busch on a roll. A lot of speed in that race car. Just gets a little bit loose off of 2. Regan.
Kyle Larson in the upper right of your screen started off just a little bit too tight on the splitter. That race car freed up as he ran. Ryan Blaney to the bottom left. That race car is struggling over the bumps. It gets too free when he hits the bumps in the middle of the corner. In the 11 at Denny Hamlin, your leader. That car is free in the middle of the corner.
That is a narrow pit road and small pit boxes compared to the last 1.5 miles we were at in Las Vegas, as Kyle Larson picks up a spot and Alex Bowman picks up 4. Competition caution, lap 27. Fox NASCAR is sponsored by Ford. Built Ford proud. And by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Green flag next time by. Let's take a quick look at today's Ford Performance track facts. Ford's won the last 4 races at Atlanta, split between Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick. 4 in a row. For more on Harvick, here's Jamie.
Trouble for Kevin Harvick. He just came on the radio and said, I have a flat tire. The team just put their helmets back on. They're waiting for him to bring it down. They believe it's, yep, right there.
Rear.
Flat left rear for Kevin Harvick, who's sitting in 3rd now.
Oh, man.
When you have a flat tire like that, a lot of times the air gun, as they're trying to tighten the lug nuts, goes in there and knocks a valve stem off.
Yeah, but that thing's not all the way down.
Yeah, normally when that unless there's an
It'll go down
interliner.
immediately. I would think that thing is
Interliners, Clint.
Yeah, maybe.
Safety interliner would keep it from going down to the rim. Ricky Stenhouse, too fast entering and exiting. He got the Quinella. He will start in the back. You're going to listen to Ryan Blaney's spotter, Josh Williams. Car number 12. Green flag.
Like 2 out back, no run. Still inside, just 18. Goes 2 back to the 1. Still 1 back to the 1. Itself is 1 off. Still inside. Still half back to the 1. Half in line. Itself is half off. 1 to get in the push. Still right with you. Still right with you. Nothing in front of this 11. Just 1 inside. Half back to the 1. Still 1 inside. Nothing in front. Just 1 inside. Still inside. Still half back to the middle of the 1. Top of 3 with the 11. Top of 3. Still top of 3. Just 1 inside the 11 now. 1 inside, half lane off. Still inside, 2 back to the 1. So just 1 inside, 1 back to the 1 in line.
And that's how you work up to second place, or now third,
That's a
for
lot.
Ryan Blaney.
That's a lot of information to take in, but I was a little surprised there. You saw Ryan Blaney now going to second place on the outside of Denny Hamlin, but he gave a big push to Denny Hamlin to take the lead, and Denny did not move down to that inside lane, allowing Kyle Larson to take the lead back.
The other thing is quick to point out right here, listening to that in-car camera, Kurt Busch, you hear it wide open. You're all but wide open right here, guys. It's very hard to keep your momentum, not have to check up when you hear him right there. You heard Logano check up as he caught Kurt Busch, but immediately right back to the gas. Momentum is everything on a track like this with the horsepower package that we have with these cars.
And as Larry suggested, it was a broken valve stem for Kevin Harvick, who stays on the lead lap for now. And we talk about how narrow this pit road and pit boxes are. Regan.
Well, we saw the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, lose the lead on pit road. Take a listen to what he had to say just now.
Late stuff down in the box in front of us, not in our box. Different. Our box is smoother than that one, but anything we can do to help you there or not? Yeah, I mean, I got a ton of wheel spin, so anything you can do to make it better.
Yeah, we've seen where that number 1 pit stall, it's a nice straight shot out, maybe stay out of trouble on these tight, small boxes on pit road, but it's easy to transition from that concrete to pavement and start getting wheel spin like you heard Denny Hamlin
Hey,
talk
if you're
about.
sitting home, what are you going to do? You're in the home of Coca-Cola. He's a Coca-Cola driver. Get to dumping that stuff out there. Get some stick on it.
It is sticky, isn't it? Let's compare Las Vegas on the top of the screen and here at Atlanta on the bottom in this graphic that will show you the difference between pit box size and pit road width.
I mean, it basically every category.
Yeah.
It's a smaller, tighter pit road.
And that's why, you know, if I am Denny Hamlin, being able to be in that pit box at the end, of course, you talked about he couldn't get to power down, can't get out of the box, but he doesn't have to worry about that traffic like some of his competitors do back there in those tight boxes.
Alex Bowman on the move. 6th place. Joey Logano in hot pursuit. Kyle Larson is only the 2nd driver to lead today.
Another one of those Hendrick drivers that we just talked about, teammate to Alex Bowman. Here comes Chase Elliott from the rear of the field.
Now out in front of all of them is Kevin Harvick, who is keeping pace with the leaders despite that extra pit stop for a flat tire on his initial stop. He is still on the lead lap.
If I'm the 5 car of Kyle Larson, I'm using him as a rabbit right now. I'm going to do everything I can to try to run down Kevin Harvick, put him a lap down, because he's going to be one of the fiercest competitors you're going to have to deal with today. Now, another driver we don't talk a lot about that I think does a great job using that paint around the bottom, especially down in 1 and 2, and that's Chase Elliott. He's got one of the best averages of all the drivers out there on the track at this facility, but he learned a lot from Kevin Harvick. They were teammates, I think, was at Junior Motorsports when Kevin Harvick was driving the Chevrolet, and he watched all of his data and telemetry to try to learn how to do exactly what Kevin Harvick does. Jamie?
Well, Chase's day started off not the way they wanted. They failed tech twice, so they had to start in the back. But crew chief Alan Gustafson told me, that's okay, we've got a competition caution. That'll really play into our hands. And it has. They came in, made adjustments. Now he's already in 2. Now he just went out of the top 10. He's in 11th, but the car right now is good.
Jeff, you brought up a good point. When I'm racing this racetrack, it's all about 1 and 2. The preferred line in 3 and 4 is the bottom. There's no question about that. 1 and 2 is where you have options. You can carry that momentum through the middle. You can carry it through the outside, certainly. The hardest part about this racetrack is this Harvicking line that we talk about, running the bottom consistently and finding the speed you see right there in 1 and 2.
Denny Hamlin led the first 27 circuits. Kyle Larson's been out front for the last 12. 39 complete in Atlanta. Kyle Larson, your leader. Kyle Larson leading at 45 laps in Atlanta. You still have time to enter Clint's Stage 2 contest for your chance to win a share of $10,000 guaranteed. Download the Fox Bet Super 6 app for free. Here are the 6 questions you have to answer to win Clint's money.
Hey, man, these are layups.
The first was just a yes.
Yes. Fastest lap. That's going to be an easy one. Larson's looking good there, by the way. Should we be tipping people off? I can't do this. You wanted my money for crying
I
out
love
loud.
what you're doing, man. You just
That's how dumb I am. I'm
Look at this.
not saying another word about it.
His man was 9th. He was not happy.
No, he wasn't.
He'll have his chance. Don't
One
worry.
more adjustment. Old Larry Mack will have him tuned in.
That's it.
Put a smile on his face.
Here are your Xfinity fastest laps of the lead lap cars. Kevin Harvick fast enough to stay out in front of the field and stay on the tail end of the lead lap. Kyle Larson setting good pace here.
Compare me to Harvick out front.
That last lap, you had half a tenth on his lap right now. He is not a lap down yet. He had you by half a tenth that lap. You've got about a 1 second lead out back. Don't beat it up too bad right now because we will be better than the forward lap traffic. I'm pretty confident, so let's make sure we're good when we get there.
You heard Kyle Larson say, compare me to Kevin Harvick. A lot of reasons why. One of them is Kevin's good here, right? That's a given. The other thing is it's a good way. You always look, when you come out of a corner, you're looking ahead, so far ahead. He is his barometer. He's his gauge. He's looking. He can tell he's inching in on him, but he can also tell if he falls off. We talk about the importance of 1 and 2. We talk about how good Kevin runs in 1 and 2. That's where you can settle in and learn a little bit here, the situation you have in front of you.
And one other thing I picked up on that is Cliff Daniels, crew chief for Kyle Larson, made a comment about I think we'll be better in traffic. That tells me they've seen something about the way that 4 car is trimmed out, where his heights are at, that maybe they feel like they're going to have a little bit more downforce or maybe front grip in traffic.
I don't know if you just saw that. He was slipping and sliding around. The old Harvicking line didn't last very long. He didn't latch it on to the rail down there that we talk about. But that's a good point, too. You know, you have to be able to balance this thing. We talk about the balance, and it's such an important thing, such a fine thing. You know, we talk about rounds. We all know the tools that you have to adjust these cars. You have rounds of wedge. You can go up on the track bar. That takes the rear end of the car in and out of the racetrack. Pretty drastic adjustment. The air pressure things are fine-tuning measures, and that goes a long ways on an old wore-out surface like this.
Well, Denny Hamlin is trying to close on Kyle Larson, but Larson keeps getting smaller and smaller in the distance.
I don't know, though. I mean, I might have hurt the right front. No, I don't think so. We were planning on the track tightening up the entire first stage. So far going according to plan.
Yeah, so that's Denny Hamlin feeling something like, you know, his car's obviously a little bit tighter, and they were planning for the track to be tight, so they'll start freeing that car up. But Denny maybe felt like he's pushing that car just a little bit too hard on that right front, and that you'll get that feedback as a driver. You know how much wheel you have in it, how much throttle you're using, and whether or not you're abusing one tire versus the other.
The other thing I love about that is that relationship between him and his crew chief, Chris Gabehart. That was confidence. Hey, no problem. We kind of expected that. Wait till this next stop. I got you. Stay in that thing. Keep your head in it. I'll get you an adjustment at this next stop, and we'll be just fine.
Well, Larson continues to gain on Harvick, a full second that lap. Now Harvick is on the bottom of the racetrack, Harvicking around the paint. Larson is up top in both corners, taking the long way around.
Well, the only thing I would say is with 550 horsepower and the amount of downforce that these cars have, I've seen where that top groove isn't, it's kind of holding its own, at least down in turns 1 and 2, more so than I've seen in the past.
Meanwhile, Kyle Busch is coming. Jamie.
Well, I think all the seat time he's had the last couple of days has paid off. Yesterday, drove it to victory lane for the 60th time in the NASCAR Truck Series. He told me afterwards it does him a lot of good no matter what he wins in. It helps him mentally. And you can hear it on the radio today. He's a happy Kyle Busch. Says the car is almost right where they need it to be. Lacks just a little rear travel, but he has moved up the field. Started 19th. He's in 3rd right now, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. He's 3rd right now, 4 seconds off the lead. 7 days to Bristol, and this week at Bristol they had 1,400 cars of different classes, different sanctions, open wheel, closed wheel cars, all sorts. Kyle Larson won his heat and finished 2nd in last night's super late model main at Bristol. Jonathan Davenport the winner. Kyle Busch was up there. So was Chase Elliott. Long list of
Austin
drivers.
Dillon, yeah,
Yes.
it was, man, I tell you what, I've been glued to my TV watching those dirt races up there, just trying to get an idea of what we're going to have. And I'll tell you what, last night's racetrack, they had a fantastic prepared racetrack last night. If we have that next week, we are going to have one heck of a show.
Austin Dillon won the 604 late models last night up at Bristol. Great to see fans in the stands at Atlanta. Healthy crowd on hand here, as many as the state would allow, sold out. And they're having a big time as Kyle Larson leads.
I'm here doing this promo for the new Cherry Vanilla Coke, then who is driving my car? You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
That's Daniel Suarez, who is 22nd, and these are the Rodriguez brothers, world-famous racing drivers from Mexico, Pedro and younger brother Ricardo. We're showing you them because in 1959 at Trenton, Pedro was in the race. Ricardo served as his crew chief until today. That is the most recent Latino driver crew chief combination in the NASCAR Cup Series. That's Jose Blasco Figueroa, today's crew chief for the number 99. Regan.
Well, Mike, you talk about the crew chief for the 99, Jose Blasco. He's got a long history in NASCAR. He was a crew chief in the NASCAR Mexico Series for 8 years, worked at GM Mexico as a vehicle dynamics professional, and was also a vehicle dynamics professor at the Monterrey School of Technology in Mexico City. Him and Daniel, they've known each other 10 years, but finally this season, this is the first time they've gotten to work together, and it's fun to see these guys out there and enjoying the race today.
Blasco's on top of the box because when you have more than a lug nut loose at the end of the race, the crew chief gets a 1-week suspension.
That gap is closing in there.
And you can see why that 4 car is really slipping and sliding around down there trying to hold on to the bottom line.
Well, one other thing, 11 coming on pit road here a little bit early. I guess the window may be
the window's open, Jeff. This is splitting the stage right in half. If I'm Rodney Childers, I'm bringing that 4 car. I want to get on pit road before that 5 and get advantage of fresh tires.
And he might be listening to you. Looks like he's going to go the inside of that slower car to get ready to come to pit road.
I think the 5's going to come right there with him.
Regan.
We see the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, pitting just a little bit early right here. That race car's struggling to hold his line on the exit of turn 2 on the bottom. Not quite enough grip with it.
Everybody's coming to pit road under green except Kurt Busch stays out on track. Most of the lead lap cars are in. Jamie.
Austin Dillon there, he was sideways loose. Happy to see this pit stop and get some fresh tires. The 18 of Kyle Busch as well in good rear grip, needs help with the front grip. It'll be tape on the grill and 4 tires, Regan.
Kyle Larson pretty quiet on the radio about that race car, happy with the handling. The main thing was to take care of the tires. They felt like it would be very good on the long runs. Ryan Blaney on the right-hand side of your screen. That car needs to be a little bit better over the bumps. Still, he's been loose over the bumps all day so far.
Only 9 drivers stayed out on track, led by Kurt Busch and Chase Elliott. And all the way back to Austin Cindric, running in his second Cup race of the season. Scheduled green flag stops, and watch how close coming out of the pits Kevin Harvick and Kyle Larson were.
Well, they were definitely door to door all the way down there. I was watching this, and you know, Kevin kind of had the preferred line on pit exit as he was up on the banking a little bit more, and the 5 had to let him have a spot.
William Byron took over the lead for a lap. There are now just 4 drivers yet to pit. Wallace, LaJoie, and Briscoe are the others. Here they all come. Regan?
On the left of your screen, William Byron had a report early on, possibly a vibration on that race car. It got better as they ran. Right now, the car is very loose on this run, especially when he gets the left rear off of the paint on the bottom of the racetrack that we talk about. He is very descriptive about what happens when he gets it off of the paint.
1 driver, rather 2 drivers, did not stop, Corey LaJoie and Quinn Houff. So LaJoie is the leader.
Doesn't want to stay out there for long, though. About 2.5 seconds slower than those guys on new tires right now.
He was at Bristol last night, won a qualifying race.
Really? Oh, very cool.
So this will move Kyle Larson back up front. Denny Hamlin in second, 1.6 back. So that is a 2-second gain because Hamlin pitted 1 lap sooner than everybody else. Other than that, the front 5 are spaced about the same, with Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, 3 through 5.
And I think that's the importance of that is only going to build as this race progresses on. You know, we start to get down to the pay window open, so to speak. That's when the money's on the line. You've got to make sure that you hit your marks. Get it all coming on the pit road. Get it all getting into your pit box, out of the pit box that we heard Denny Hamlin already having trouble with. All of those things equate to good performance on pit road all the way through. Not just those guys, you know, changing those 4 tires on and off.
And we had a discussion last week about trying to get that last ounce of speed down pit road and whether the reward was worth the risk.
Well, it certainly isn't under green flag conditions, because if you have to pay that penalty, that's a drive-through, and you're going down and lapping. And to your point, Clint, earlier, a lot of green flag running happens here at Atlanta. Hard to get those laps back if you make that kind of mistake.
Let's get a further recap on that pit stop cycle from Larry.
Yeah, what we've done, Mike, we did the 2 laps that includes the trip to pit road, and you see right there, Denny Hamlin, the 11 car, he is the quickest. Ross Chastain in the 42 car right behind him, another Hendrick driver, Alex Bowman, 3rd. So that's the 2 laps, including the trip down pit road, including the pit stop.
So back to my point, look how tight that is.
Yeah.
All within tenths of a second right there. You know, Jeff, you say, all right, in my term, is the juice worth the squeeze, right? Yes. I can promise you, if you don't perform on Sunday, that Monday morning quarterback meeting where you have that competition meeting where all that data comes in as it collected and showcases your performance on pit road, in your box, out of your box, all the things as a driver, how you get scored on pit road, that's where it all comes out, and you get a butt chewing if you're behind. It really shows up and makes you look bad.
Millions of kids nationwide are still without their normal access to sports and play due to COVID-19. So Fox Sports and Good Sports are restoring play through donations of brand new fitness gear to youth organizations, including nearly $800,000 worth of equipment from Good Sports to programs in need in the Atlanta area. Text PLAY to the number on your screen and help keep kids in the game. Kyle Larson still leading Denny Hamlin, and this young fellow in the Chase Elliott shirt says, I don't care who wins unless it's Kyle Busch, but look at the line through the 18. I guess it says, I don't care who wins unless it's not Kyle.
I know what you mean, buddy. It's all right. Hey, I tell you what, hats off to those parents for bringing those kids. As a parent, there's nothing neater than being able to bring them to the racetrack, especially for their first time. A lot of first-time fans right there in the stands at Atlanta. Cool to see.
So Kyle Larson has now put Kevin Harvick a lap down coming off turn 2. Here's how it happened.
Yeah, you see Harvick trying to run that bottom lane, but that 5 car has the momentum on the top. It's got to go all the way to the bottom, almost below that line.
Well, that had to provoke a reaction, Regan.
Well, Mike, we talk about how concerned they were about getting that 4-car lap down. Take a look, listen to what Cliff Daniels said leading to that.
Up to just over 2 seconds over the 11 now. Your pace is still really fast. Just manage it. Still plenty of time left. We'll get that 4-car. Be smart in traffic. Do it good.
And they did. At 79 laps, they've put Kevin Harvick, who often dominates Atlanta, a lap down. Harvick's response?
The biggest pile of crap I've ever driven in Atlanta. Manipulated to do anything. The front end, absolutely horrendous. When you get to traffic, it just gets worse.
Wow.
Yikes.
I mean, that is something that you rarely hear come out of Kevin Harvick's mouth here at Atlanta.
Well, I can tell by his demeanor, how he's holding the wheel and everything else. He's definitely frustrated, and that's something that is such a hard thing to overcome. When you don't have front turn at this racetrack as big, as long as sweeping of corners as we have here at Atlanta, if that front end thing, what it does is it won't change direction, Mike. You lean on that front wheels, you're trying to make it turn, it does not want to go left. You can't keep the balance in a race car like we're talking about, and you're on for a long day. 500 miles, you're going to fight that, baby.
Well, they're second and third, and look at the gap to the leader, Kyle Larson. And now something new has been added, Jeff. The sun's out.
As if this track hasn't changed enough already. We've laid rubber down on the track. You got multiple grooves. Now the sun's going to come out, only going to make things even more difficult to stay up on top of and ahead of as this track continues to evolve throughout the day.
Just slicker is what it does, as if it doesn't make it. It wasn't already slick enough. Now it's even worse. Now again, I bring you right back to this balance that I'm talking about. It's so important not to be leaning too hard on those front tires or not enough on the right rear.
Now, we heard Denny Hamlin's crew talking with him about how slick it was leaving their pit box. Larry, that's some sticky stuff there.
Well, we are in Atlanta. That's the headquarters for Coca-Cola. Just run up there and get all kinds of syrup and just coat her down good.
I
wish they'd bring me one. I want one of those.
When Clint and I were on pit road, I walked by one of those pit boxes, about sucked the shoes right off my foot. So much of that stuff down there.
Would that have been the cherry vanilla or the Coke Zero?
Man,
I'm not sure.
Not zero. You need to load that up. It needs to be the leaded stuff, right? It needs, the more stick, the better.
High test. Yep.
You can hear him in the throttle. You see that thing, the huckabuck. Somebody asked me on Twitter, I just saw on the break I was watching, what's a huckabuck, Boyer? That right there's a huckabuck. You saw the rear end come out from underneath of Joey Logano right here. Had to lift out of the gas a little bit. That's momentum, that's speed, that's lap time.
There you go. There's a huckabuck. You get over that bump, the grip comes and it goes, and you're fighting that wheel left and right.
Is what happens, we talk about, and I keep bringing up the left front, Mike. I look at the left front when I talk about locking on the track, so to speak, on that bottom line. When you do that, the rear end comes out from underneath of you, but if you've got a decent balance on your hot rod, you can keep the left front on it. If you have to correct too much, you lose the left front off that track, and then you're in big trouble. You can see, whoa, that's a little more huck. Or maybe a buck. What is it?
That's more huck than buck, I believe. But you could see what that was Joey Logano trying to keep that left front on the paint, and he could tell he was starting to come off the paint, put a little more wheel into it, and as he came off that paint, the back end just stepped out.
Regan?
Well, guys, a little surprising to see this team struggling like they are right now, too. Crew Chief Paul Wolf told me he felt like they would be very good on the long runs today. That's been their strength at Atlanta. Let's not forget Paul Wolf, 2 wins with Brad Keselowski in past years at this racetrack. As you see, Joey says, I can't hold the bottom at all right now. That's his biggest complaint.
Huck-a-buck. Kyle Larson out front. He's now led more laps in the first 6 races of any NASCAR season that he's been a part of in the Cup Series. 87 complete. 105 is the end of stage 1. We're going to take you Fox NASCAR side by side.
With Edge now the ringside enforcer at Fastlane, will Roman Reigns continue his dominance, or will Daniel Bryan triumph as the new Universal Champion? It's an all-new Friday Night SmackDown, live at 8 Eastern on Fox.
Thanks, Michael Cole. Yeah, we're ready. Kurt Busch is ready. He is up to 4th place now.
Tell you what, he keeps marching up to the front. He had some great odds. We go back to the old Fox bet app. I'm telling you, big odds for Kurt Busch.
How about the odds on Chris Buescher in 10th right now? We talked about the speed that this 17 car had at the last abrasive racetrack we were at in Homestead, where he went up and took the lead. He's in 10th now, Regan.
Well, Jeff, as you mentioned, that speed is carried over to Atlanta today. Right now, that race car was just a little bit too tight. The front tires weren't working early on. They freed it up one stop ago with the back of the race car. he has been quiet ever since. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was quiet on the radio, that was usually a really good thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot of guys quiet on the radio here. You know why you're quiet? Because you're busy. You don't have time to find that button and complain.
Back at fourth place. Denny Hamlin right back up after Kurt Busch.
Well, Denny started searching around the racetrack. I think he may have found a little something up top. See, he loses it because of distance there. He should gain it back.
Oh,
maybe
now you see why he fell back so far. That's a difference in air right there.
Now behind that pair, Alex Bowman. Jamie.
Alex Bowman having a nice run, started the day 14th up to 6th, but his pit crew getting the job done. They got it done yesterday for Justin Allgaier when he went to victory lane for the first time this season. Crew chief Greg Ives told me winning is contagious, and I expect these guys to have a good day. Well, they gained him 4 spots on that first pit stop today. Alex right now just feels like he's burning the right rear off it, but other than that, he's happy with the car.
Solid start for Bowman. Let's look at today's right combination, sponsored by Subway. Larry.
Yeah, Mike, that would be Alex Bowman and his crew chief Greg Ives. This is their 4th full-time season together, a total of 113 races. They have 2 wins together, Chicagoland in 2019, Auto Club Speedway last year. They've made the playoff for 3 consecutive years, ended up 6th in the points, and the first 5 races of 2021, 2 top 10 finishes. And Jeff, Clint, and Mike, low grip tracks have been their strong suit when you think about places he's won. So Atlanta, Alex Bowman could be the Subway right combination.
Well, they should have this place circled. Yes.
That's a very good point that Larry brought up about where they have excelled, and this is definitely a low grip racetrack right now.
Now Ross Chastain goes a lap down. Behind him, Christopher Bell, Michael McDowell, and Ryan Preece. So Kevin Harvick, 5th of those cars, 1 lap down. Having a difficult day after having to make an extra pit stop because a valve stem got broken on their stop during the competition caution, and he had to re-pit. So that leaves us 20 cars on the lead lap with 7 to go in stage 1.
When we talk about not having practice and getting your heights, trying to get the right setup on the car, what the balance is going to be, saving tires, mechanical grip versus aerodynamics. Right now, that 5 car of Kyle Larson, Cliff Daniels, those guys at Hendrick have done their homework well, because, man, they're setting quite a pace here and putting cars down as Eric Almirola going to go a lap down.
I was going to say, you were talking about, hitting your marks without practice and things like that. You got to give credit where credit's due. This 5 team is lights out. They've been the class of the field, in my opinion, almost week in and week out right now. And the torrid pace that they're creating right now. I mean, you're putting cars down already this point in the race. That was Eric Almirola right there on 20th. He is marching up through the field. These guys are wanting these 5 laps to go by pretty quick. We need to get to the caution. We need to get some adjustments, and we need them now.
Yeah, Daniel Suarez. For him, the stage can't end soon enough. He is the next car ahead of Kyle Larson and last car on the lead lap. This is for 7th place.
Larry McReynolds was talking during a break about not seeing a lot of major adjustments, mainly air pressure adjustments on the last pit stops. Pretty sure whenever this caution comes out, you're going to see guys making some major adjustments.
Well, you heard Chris Gabehart on the radio with Denny Hamlin talk about this track tightening up as expected. Maybe it happened a little bit faster. Maybe that sun that you talked about came out on this racing surface, made it slicker, threw everybody for a little bit of a loop. Nonetheless, a quick opportunity here to make some pretty drastic changes for a lot of teams.
And what's been very impressive is since the restart from the competition caution, Kyle Larson has been the fastest car on the racetrack almost every lap since, and still is.
Goes right to, hey, Fox Bet Super 6, stage 2, buddy. He's one of the ones, right? Who's going to be the fastest? You better be picking the 5 balls, all I'm saying. I don't know. I don't want to give away my own money. I'm confused.
Well, somebody's going to win it.
And Clint, you're right. If you've got a bad huckabuck, 2 or 3 rounds ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna grab that air wrench and start screwing on those jack boats.
Some Packer. We're gonna put some Packer in there.
You know, that's fun. A really good point. We heard the 20-car Christopher Bell say he's leaning too hard on the splitter. This is an opportunity that you're going to have to pounce on, because you can't wait too long to get into this race before you're out of opportunities to take that, because it's going to be a lengthy change.
So Daniel Suarez about to go a lap down here, and
he's doing a nice job fighting our leader.
And he will too. Hold him off, Daniel.
One more lap in stage 1.
And Almirola is this biggest cheerleader for Daniel
100%.
Suarez right now, because he would be the free pass car.
Yeah, it not only saves Daniel right here, it'll save the 10 cars day as well. I believe he's going to do it.
Yep. Uses the lap car of Joey Gase.
Hook that paint there, Daniel.
He's there.
And I think it shows some patience right there, some poise with Larson not pushing the envelope either, giving them that opportunity.
Green and white checkered flag in the air. Kyle Larson gets his 2nd stage win of the season and his 2nd career stage win at Atlanta. Stage 1 in the books. Kyle Larson has led 75 of those laps.
Coming next week in Thunder Valley, the last great Coliseum gets even greater and a whole lot dirtier. It's dirt track racing at Bristol all week long, and it's only on Fox and FS1.
Oh, baby.
Hey, coverage begins Wednesday. We're going iRacing, boys.
I'll tell you how
on the
excited
dirt
I
at Bristol.
am. I'll be there first thing in the morning Thursday. Look at this.
There's going to be plenty of
My man. We have a fan, Jeff. A fan. One fan is all we got. He made his own shirt. I like it. That's my kind of guy right there. Party in the rear. beer in his hand, hooded out shirt on. Boyer Nation all over that guy.
That's for sure.
Don't even know where to go with that.
Is there a nation? Is there a Boyer Nation?
One, I said. Just let me have it. Just one win, please.
All right. Here they come to pit road. Jamie.
Kyle Busch just feels like the track is chewing up the tires, something we hear every time we race here, saying that he's getting loose to start the run, and then it tightens up like the last 10 laps of a run each time a 4-tire stop here. They're going to try to help him out there with air pressure. Regan.
Your leader, Kyle Larson, that race car just a little bit freer on this run than the previous runs because of the green flag cycle. He felt like left of the screen on the bottom, the 12 car, Ryan Blaney, that car still loose, but they are getting it better. He's very pleased that they're making good adjustments on his race car. And the one car, Kurt Busch, that car just a little bit on the tight side. They asked him to stop short so he could get out of his pit box well.
Here's your Ram race off pit road. No change at the front, but how about Chase Elliott? 4 spots on the pickup, 2 for Buescher and 2 for William Byron.
What do you say we dial up our stage 1 winner? Sorry. Let's see here. Hey, Kyle Larson. This is Jeff and Boyer and Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys.
Well, man, I don't even know what to ask you. I mean, you just stomping them on pit road. You're fastest thing out on the racetrack. I mean, you must be having a lot of fun out there is all I could say.
Yeah, this place is, definitely a lot of fun, and especially fun when you got a fast HendrickCars.com Chevy. So just try and do more of the same and win this next stage and try to keep up with the racetrack and be there at the end. It's still a very long ways to go.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm pretty torn because I like seeing you out front there, but we want you to not stink up the show from up here. Yeah. So come on, man, keep it interesting. We'll see how it goes. Good luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Message received. I don't think appreciated. But yes, Kyle Larson pretty well dominated stage 1 here in Atlanta. good. There'll be 1 lap to go. Here they come to the choose zone, that orange V in the racetrack, where each driver gets to pick, do you want to restart inside or outside? Odd, even, odd, even.
Now it gets interesting. This is where you start hearing this communication. Spotter can help a lot.
Already, it's even. Come to the top. Bottom. Believe we got one.
They're all stacked up in the back, waiting for the clearance sale.
They're waiting for
on whichever
intel.
lane.
Which lane? Just call it.
Probably about +2. Even it back out.
What makes this so difficult is you don't want the outside at the start-finish line because of the wheel spin, but you do want the outside on the exit of turn 2.
But that's up front where you can see what's going on. Back here in the back, towards the back of that where we were showing right there, you have no clue. You can't tell exactly how many cars are in what lane. That's where the spotter has to tell you, hey, when you hear them saying 4 cars, 5 cars, 6 cars, they're telling you which lane. But for me, I always told Brad, I'm like, man, you're counting. You're the one that can see everything. Tell me where to go already.
But now the outside car is more apt to spin their tires when the inside lane is the control car. So why? Why is he going to spin his tires on the outside, regardless of who it is?
To me, it's about anticipation. On the inside, you know when you're going to get in the throttle, you're controlling it. That guy on the outside doesn't really know. So as soon as you see that guy go, you're reacting, and all of a sudden, you're not anticipating, you're spinning the tires.
Well, let's see how it plays out as they approach the Geico restart zone. You'll be listening to Alex Bowman's spotter, Kevin Hamlin, the 48.
You see Kyle really spinning his tires.
Now middle's good. You're good to the middle. Good to the middle. You're clear all the way. Clear all the way.
Look what it did to that line.
Turn the wall, Kurt Busch.
I think this is a product, some guys pushing.
That's a product of everything that happened and what we were talking about.
He was trying to get it all, and he got turned.
It all stacked up is what it was. Kyle Busch started that, spinning his tires on the outside, reacting. You have to react to the first car in line on that bottom. When Kyle Larson goes, that's when you go. You cannot go before.
Well, and when the 18 spun his tires, everybody behind him stacked up because they know they can't pass him before they get to the start-finish line.
Now the 18, Kyle Busch in front, is going to spin his tires. Older brother Kurt, third car back on the outside lane.
See, the 9 tries to give a little assistance to the 18. Now they're stacked up. Yeah, the 11 was pushing the 1 maybe a little bit too hard as they got into turn 1.
Now.
Ride with Kurt Busch, the Monster Energy can.
Ooh.
You're good. Wrecking you. It's 11.
That's a lot of damage, too.
Oh, yeah, that's a hard hit. So here's Kyle Busch. You can see his hands in there. He's spinning the tires. 9 of Chase Elliott's going, get going, man, get going. And he had to check up.
Just an innocent bystander, really.
The one car seemed to get a little bit loose.
Well, because he was having to slow up to keep off of the 9 car. Again, all stacks up, accordions. Next thing you know, something has to give. He's lucky.
Yeah,
yes, that could have been right in his lap.
Against the wall.
There's the damage.
Heavy damage.
On Kurt Busch's car, here's what he had to say.
I picked the lane. I was in the middle lane. Yeah, he ran in the back of you. Nothing he did wrong there. Ran in the back of you.
Yeah, nothing Kurt Busch did.
Say that'll be the end of the day there.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to fix that.
Had a great race going. Now, as I understand the discussion, the control car can feed the throttle on the restart because he decides when everybody goes. The car outside him has to react, so when the control car goes, he's got to mash the throttle.
You're already
wheel
behind.
spin, and here we go. Folds of Honor provided today's fans with a folded paper flag to hold up on the 13th lap of the race. The significance of the number 13 goes back to the folds of the flag, and that's what Folds of Honor is built on. We recognize Folds of Honor and all they do to help families and show honor and respect. Under caution, as on the restart, Kurt Busch got turned into the outside wall down in turn number 1 after contact from Denny Hamlin. Busch may have been off the gas, trying to stay off the car in front of him, and they may need to pull that car to the garage area because obviously Kurt is not going to drive it back there. On the last round of pit stops, Ross Chastain had an uncontrolled tire, had to restart from the rear. And on this caution flag, Michael McDowell gets the free pass. So we will restart with 20 cars on the lead lap. 1 lap to go before we go green. Let's check with Larry Mack and the Ford Performance Cutaway car.
Yeah, Mike, we've heard a little bit of maybe some issues on the inside of the right front tire. There, Regan Smith reported that Kyle Larson was maybe showing just a little bit of wear on the inside. But what Goodyear does here at Atlanta, it's called a multi-zone or dual zone right side tire. You see this inner 2 inches right here? It's a little bit harder compound. It pretty much is for endurance. But the outer 10 inches, it's a little softer. It's more for grip. And where this technology comes from is actually from passenger car tires, where you have a bit of a tread for dry, maybe some for wet, and then some for snowy ice conditions. So this is one scenario where they've taken technology from a passenger car tire and moved it into a race tire.
So many interesting things they can do with tires. One of the ideas that I always thought was interesting that I was wanting to try is put that same principle on the bottom of the tire, the very first cap of the tire, and then use a softer compound at the end, affording you the ability, the insurance, so to speak, of as it wears out, it doesn't blow at it to get to a harder compound, and it's a, you know, an end all to the speed and the performance of the tire at time to pit. It's actually something we talked about a lot in our competition meeting, and this cat right here, Kevin Harvick, was the one that initially brought that up.
That's a great idea.
NASCAR fans know a thing or two about speed, and we know you're going to love Tubi. Tubi is the fastest way to stream all your favorite movies and shows. Best of all, it's totally free. So download Tubi now and enjoy a streaming service that's 100% free for real.
I'm a movie buff too, guys. I'm going right there. I'll have Tubi by the time this day is over.
I was going to say, the amount of money I spend on all these streaming services that are adding up, I want Tubi. I want that all free thing.
Headed in. I'm going in, boys.
Well, we saw how it worked out the last time. Let's do it again.
Couple of mile-and-a-half winners up front here. Byron and Larson in Chevrolets, then Blaney and DiBenedetto's Fords. Here we go.
Yeah, Blaney actually chose the inside. He was second place.
A lot better push on the outside this time.
Three wide, and Ricky Stenhouse trying to shoot the middle.
It's going to give William Byron a big shove into turn 3.
And a much needed push right there for William Byron.
Right, look at this battle for the lead here. The 12 of Blaney getting to the outside of the 5.
New leader Ryan Blaney at the stripe by about a third of a car length, and Larson moves to take it right back.
Benedetto doing a nice job carrying that momentum from the top lane, goes into third place.
Yeah, great job. This is where the juice is. You got to take advantage of these fresh tires. Everybody's on top of one another. Got to work this air, be in the right line, have the right push.
So Larson back to the front as they roll off into turn number 1. Regan Smith has caught up with Kurt Busch.
Well, tough break for Kurt Busch after what was a very strong start to the day. Kurt, was it just a product of wheel spin and guys having trouble getting going on the restart?
Yeah, I think the 18 was the outside lead car. The 9 kind of checked up too. I checked up. 17 hit us from behind. You know, it's just the accordion effect. And then I jumped to the middle. I'm like, I'm here. I positioned myself. It wasn't like I rearranged my lanes and made another block. And so we're accelerating. And then next thing you know, just turned to the outside lane. Don't know where Denny was going to go. Looked like he didn't do anything vicious or malicious there. It just, like, dude, bro, it's a 500-miler. And these are the days that hurt the worst. This absolutely hurts the worst because we had a top 5 winning Monster Energy Chevy, and I'm standing here talking with you guys. So I'm pretty pissed off, but it's a restart. Where are we gonna go, man? Just chill.
Kurt Busch out of it early here in Atlanta.
Well, and frustration understandable in that situation. You know, you're just doing everything you can to get through that situation and get strung out, and you know you have a fast race car.
Denny Hamlin back here restarted 17th. He gained 2, but then got caught up in this battle with Joey Logano and Bubba Wallace and has not advanced any further. On the left, 3rd place, Bowman DiBenedetto.
I love seeing these two guys on the left of our screen have success and have good runs. I mean, think about their careers and how far they've been able to make it to get behind the wheel of some great equipment. See the 19 of Mark Truex Jr. starting to slide up the racetrack. Oh, man, right
a lot
in
of
front
contact right there. Be interesting to see if Brad Keselowski has a hole in his nose or if there's any, you know, lasting damage right there. You can see it buckled the hood right there, up there, around the hinge.
Top of the fender on the left front. I wonder if there's any damage.
You can hear Brad. Yeah, that's good heads-up driving. You can hear him check up. You see the left front fenders even.
Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty.
You see it buckled out on the outside of the left front fender. I'm telling you, this is going to affect his race car.
Oh, he's already slowing down big time.
Top of that grill looks like it's going to be a parachute there.
He looks like he's trying to get to pit road here.
How about Daniel Suarez? He held on to the tail end of the lead lap at the stage break, and he is almost up into the top 10. Larry.
But Mike, on that last caution, this just goes to show you fresh tires. These drivers only had maybe a half a lap on their tires, but interim crew chief Jose Blasco brought Daniel in, got 4 fresh tires, and that has been the difference. He's been able to drive up there close to the top 10 with that 99 car.
The difference is him fighting off that 5 car and staying on the lead lap, affording them the opportunity to be able to make that call.
Well, then I was wrong before the race. I said the tire window opened at 1 lap. Half a lap.
No, it was if you spin the tires on the restart.
There you go.
Come get 4.
Come get 4 more. 13 sets total is what each team has, counting the set they started the race with.
So Brad Keselowski did not come to pit road, but man, he has fallen back to 20th position. I don't know if he's got some cooling issues. Look at this great battle going on. Tell you what, old Chris Buescher has him a race car again here today. Fighting with the 18 right here, Kyle Busch.
Well, Kyle slid up in front of him, much like the 19 did in front of the 2 car right there. You can hear, I started to say it, heads up driving by Brad K right there. He checked up. He could see the 19 having trouble slipping and sliding, using more real estate, coming up the racetrack, checked up, and then the 19 really had to bail out of the gas and collected the 2 car, hit him in the rear and messed his front end up, and probably the rest of their day. Speaking of messing up our day, Kyle, did you not hear
He was
Jeff?
not listening, was he?
We're going to need 2 cameras. Have to go to the double boxes here in a minute. Oh, look at this. Damage on the nose of the 9 car. That'll affect that car.
Well, we know the 9 got into the rear bumper of the 18 car, right? He's got a little rear damage to that rear bumper, too, because of the 1 car. You heard Kurt Busch talk about making contact with the 9. Jamie?
Alan Gustafson assessing that right now, but I wanted to mention Matt DiBenedetto up in 4th. I talked to him before he got in his race car. This has not been a good place for him. Best finish ever, 25th, but he really felt like they would be a top 10 car today. Early on, though, he didn't feel like he had the rocket ship he needed to drive up to the front. He just had 2 monstrous restarts, you guys. He made up all that track position, running 4th right now with a good hot rod, as you would say, Clint Boyer.
Good run for DiBenedetto early on, as now Alex Bowman chasing Ryan Blaney for second. 129 laps complete in Atlanta, and the hometown hero needs a little nose job. Fox NASCAR is sponsored by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Tastes unbelievably delicious. 135 laps complete. Here's an update on the Coca-Cola family of drivers. Austin Dillon 6th, Daniel Suarez in the top 10. Denny Hamlin in 13th, just ahead of Joey Logano and Ryan Newman. There's Daniel Suarez and Austin Dillon. Kyle Larson picking him up and putting him down.
Yeah, 10-4. Keep doing your thing down there at 1 and 2. You're the fastest car by a lot at 1 and 2. That's the big difference right now. You can play with your line a little at 3 and 4 if you need like a bigger arc. Not sure if you need to.
So here Cliff Daniels talking about some of the information that he has from the pit box, right? We call it SMT, and it basically can monitor the throttle, brake, steering wheel, and look at the actual speed and compare to other teams out there. So great information that Cliff Daniels has given his driver, Kyle Larson, there from the pit box.
Yeah, he offered, you know, some advice there off of that SMT data, what he's watching on the box. He's seeing that some cars are holding it out a little bit more, as he said, getting into 3. But if I'm him, I'm liking what my driver's doing. Hey, man, do your thing. If you want to try turn 3, it might be some juice there, but your light's out in 1 and 2. Keep it up.
Yeah, you're already the fastest car on the track. Let's see if we can help you win a little bit of Clint's money.
Please.
This is an easy yes or no question.
Stage 2, baby. Still time now.
I tell you what, that's a no. That's a big no because of what's happening with Brad Keselowski and the damage that he has to the nose of that car. Going to be tough to get him in the top 10.
You know, and it's so interesting how these races unfold, right? Stage 1, that conversation right there and answer would be totally different. That one restart, some damage there, turns this race over. Look out. Now it's a whole different story.
And Hamlin might have a little damage too. He's back in 13th, struggling a bit.
And we just saw Daniel Suarez pass Chase Elliott for 9th place.
Well, I mean, number one, he's having a solid day.
Yes.
But those tires, that pit stop has really paid off. It couldn't have come at a better time for them to put those four fresh
number
tires
2,
on.
the 9 car, Chase Elliott's got a parachute on his nose.
That's true.
And with so few caution flags, too early to say, but the chances of running out of sets of tires, that diminishes as we have these long green runs.
Well, we talked about damage on that restart. Damage on the 2 car of Brad Keselowski. Put him a lap down. That damage you saw him get into the back of the 19, detrimental. These guys are needing a caution in a big way with Brad.
I'm a little surprised Brad hasn't come to pit road after going a lap down.
Well, that's only going to put you probably 2 laps down now. You're long for the ride. You done bought the ticket.
So among the contenders, Keselowski just won a lap down. Christopher Bell is one down. Kevin Harvick is a lap down. Jamie.
Whoa, big slide.
They just told Brad Keselowski he needs 10 more to make it to their fuel window. Remember, he doesn't have his regular crew chief on the box. He has Grant Hutchins crew chiefing for the first time. Of course, he's one of his race engineers, but they told Brad, hang on to it. Brad's saying it is getting super tight. Hard to turn that number 2 car.
Yeah, Mike, Jeff, Clint, Jamie, remember the fuel window somewhere around 62 to 66 laps, but I think most of the leaders, we went back racing at lap 118 with 92 to go. I think they'll split it in half, and they're going to go somewhere around lap 160 to 164, which will be 46 to 50 to go. But I think a good move for Keselowski, for Harvick, for Bell would be to try to come early and take advantage of those fresh tires.
Look at the side skirt right here on this 5 car. We talked about how rough this track is in the pre-race, Jeff. This is a product of going down, hunting that bottom line in 1 and 2, hitting those bumps and actually bottoming the car out right there. You can see the side skirt flared out in a big way.
Especially when you clip that apron, right? Then you really close it up to that skirt, flare it out to the left. The question is, how much do you want it to flare, right? Because the team sometimes will actually look at that, try to map it out of if it hits that ground, you want it to flare out on the right side just a tiny bit, just enough to give a little more side force.
We call that winning pictures, and right now that car looks pretty sexy.
I can't answer your question, but I do notice they always flare out when they hit the ground. They never flare
Rarely
in.
do they flare
sometimes you don't want that because you can't get it back either.
Right.
Yeah, one thing you don't want to give Kyle Larson right now is some momentum going into the dirt race at Bristol next week.
Yeah, we're going from rough pavement to no pavement.
I'll tell you what, that one last night stung, giving away that win. He had to lead. It was his. That's $50,000 on the line last night over there at Bristol. Handed it to that guy.
10th place.
Well, again, remember, Denny Hamlin came down pit road to fix a little bit of damage from that restart and some of the things that happened with he and Kurt Busch, and also got 4 fresh tires. So you see how those tires are paying off.
Martin Truex, who made a rare appearance in the Xfinity Series yesterday, had a dominant car through much of the race, ended up in 2nd spot. Kurt Busch in the wall and out of the race on a restart as Kyle Larson continues to lead. 60 laps to go in stage 2. The last 8 races on 1.5 mile speedways in the NASCAR Cup Series have seen 8 different winners. Will we see 9 today, noting that Kyle Larson is one of those 8? And there he is with a 5.7 second lead on Ryan Blaney.
I mean, it looks really good right now, but it's a long way to go, Mike.
Oh, one caution comes out at the wrong time. This whole thing looks different.
Well, let's look at the bigger picture given the way we've started the season. When it comes time to see who's in the playoffs, could we have 16 or more different winners? Beginning of the season, we all would have said no way, but I think that door is open.
You definitely were on the bandwagon of saying it would happen.
I said it
but
could
I'm
happen.
talking you're running out of opportunities. You get cats like Kyle Larson stinking up shows like this. He goes on a tear here. You're going to be behind, bud.
I know, but look right behind Kyle Larson right now. Behind him, you've got Blaney, Bowman, DiBenedetto. Take out Byron, he's won a race. Austin Dillon, Kyle Busch, Chris Buescher. I mean, the entire top 10, other than Larson and Byron, have not won races yet.
You said Chris Buescher, Daniel Suarez, overachieving in a big way. Those teams, awesome to see them solidly established in the top 10 running right here in Atlanta. That's a big order, man. I'm telling you, great job on those teams.
And how about Austin Dillon today? He's run more laps in a top 10 position today than in the last 3 races here combined.
Well, Mike, when we talked to Mark Truex Jr. on pit road and during their pre-race, he talked about parity. And I agree. We're seeing more parity this year among different teams, different manufacturers than we have seen in many years. One of the reasons why I think we're seeing one of the best seasons ever.
Yeah, and it happened immediately. We were talking about that almost immediately from the start of the season, how much, different the parity looked this year versus last. And honestly, I didn't think that was going to be the case because we didn't really change anything. You couldn't establish things. Some of these template rules and things like that, I think, closed that gap.
And don't engrave the trophy just yet for Bristol with Kyle Larson's name. Austin Dillon in that 3, Clint, you've been following it. He's been pretty good up there all week in his dirt car.
Yes, he has. He won that 604 late model.
Yeah, definitely wasn't the super late model like a lot of those guys did. But, hey, nonetheless, a win's a win.
Come on, Clint, work with me, buddy. Work with me.
Boys, Daniel Suarez continues to impress. Not only do they put those tires on to get him in a top 10 spot, he has held a top 10 spot. We're in 9th place for Team Trackhouse. All right, we're going to empty the toy box. We're going to give you visor cam. We're going to give you telemetry. We're going to give you onboard. We're going to give you Bubba Wallace.
Just watch those hands as he works the wheel through this rough racetrack. See all the way down. He didn't start fighting the wheel till the exit. He came up off that paint. Let's watch down in 3 and 4 though. A little bit different story down here. Oh yeah, you can hear throttle, steering. See some cars starting to peel off in front of them coming down pit road also.
And those are directly connected. As soon as you see them hands move, guess what else you heard? That throttle crack. That's directly connected. When you lose grip in that thing, you have to lift out of the gas. That's momentum and speed.
Well, one thing this season's been pretty certain, and that is Ryan Newman's going to either be the first or the last to pit on a green flag sequence. He is the first lead lap car to come to pit road as we ride along with Kevin Harvick. Everybody wants that free pass position.
Yes, they do. And that battle is heating up as everybody hits pit road to get those 4 fresh Goodyears.
Regan.
Well, Martin Truex Jr., one of the first to hit pit road. That race car right now struggling with the front end of it. The front end load is terrible right now. He's been on the splitter most of the day. The upper right-hand part of your screen, Denny Hamlin, that race car is tight, turning down on entry. Jamie.
Alex Bowman in the 48, pretty happy. Just wants a small adjustment here. Just don't tighten me up too much was the call. This pit crew getting it done today. A 4-tire stop, air pressure as well. Wipe the grill. Kyle Busch is in. His car has been pretty good. They've been making some good adjustments, but he wants to go back on the adjustment they made on the last stop. You saw Chase Elliott in. They're going to assess that damage on the nose. As you guys said, there's a parachute there. Let's go back to Regan.
Well, your leader of Kyle Larson in the 5 car, still working on lines, even as fast as that race car is right now, still things that they want to do better. Started that run just a little bit tight. By the end of it, it was starting to free up too much for him, but very quiet on the radio for Kyle today.
Daniel Suarez picked up the lead for a lap over Blaney, who's completing service now. And I believe Suarez, Keselowski, Chastain, and Cindric are the cars left on the racetrack that have not made this green flag stop. And here's Suarez, who pits as the leader. Regan.
Well, such a great run for Daniel Suarez right now today. That race car for him has actually been pretty decent, just a little bit too free all the way through the corners for him. They'll make a small adjustment and get his 4 tires for that.
Larry, they left him out on track 3 laps more than some of the other top 10 contenders. How much is that going to hurt him once this stop's complete?
It's probably going to be 8 to 9 seconds, Mike, and if you do the math on that, it's over 1/4 of a lap. You know, you're trying to catch a caution, but right now the race just has that green flag look and feel to it.
I did not see them put a piece of tape over that hole in the upper nose of Chase Elliott's car.
No, and you can see it's folded back right there. So
it's
clearly,
almost like it came delaminated, though. I don't see an actual hole in it. I just see that it's peeled up.
No, but it's obviously very much affecting the aerodynamics of that car. That car, part of the car is very crucial, how the air flows over the hood and gets to the rear of the car. I think that Alan Gustafson and that team are probably going to wait till the end of this stage, hopefully stay on the lead lap and try to fix it then under a caution.
So after pit stops, Kyle Larson's lead over Alex Bowman, 5 1/4 seconds. Blaney now 3rd, a couple car lengths back. Matt DiBenedetto, top 5, having a very strong run here for the Wood brothers. And Kyle Busch rounds out your top 5.
One thing they did do to the 9 car, Chase Elliott, when he pitted, they added tape to the grill of the car, which helps the drag, straightaway speed, helps downforce.
You saw Austin Cindric right here. I was thinking he would have a lot better run than this. He struggled yesterday. He said his car was extremely loose. Didn't like his balance on his Xfinity race. Started at the back. You know, again, here to learn, and I think that's exactly what he's doing right now.
Well, I like the approach that they're taking. They're going to the toughest racetracks on the circuit, the ones that he doesn't have a lot of experience at, to get him ready and prepared for the big challenge that's going to come next year when he goes in the Cup Series.
Now, he did not start out back due to penalty. It was because that car doesn't run all the races, didn't have enough points to start further up in the field. 164 laps complete here in Atlanta. Atlanta was one of NASCAR's earliest super speedways. 1960 was the opener, and Fireball Roberts in that number 22 drove to victory lane. Here is Atlanta Motor Speedway today from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. For those that push the limits of possibility, Goodyear, more driven. In the mid-90s, this track went from a 1.5-mile oval with short straightaways to the quad oval you see today. What was the backstretch became the quad oval with a huge grandstand and condominiums, as the old grandstand that was along what was the front stretch was then torn down. So Brad Keselowski had worked his way up into the top 20, and now finally makes his pit stop for repairs, fuel, and tires.
Pretty good use of the hands right there. The old right hook. You see that? Pop the fender right out.
Boy, coming into this day, I thought the two guys we're going to be talking a lot about, leading a lot of laps, is this guy right here, the 2 of Brad Keselowski, and the 4 of Kevin Harvick, and it's been anything but that.
Jamie?
Yeah, you saw him there working on it. Hood damage on both sides and splitter. It was so tight, it was hard to turn. They did the best they can there. They want to minimize those laps that they're going down.
And you ride with Harvick. He is 1 lap down, but not in the free pass position. That would be Michael McDowell, who got the free pass 1 caution ago and has now gone a lap down. So Harvick is the second car 1 lap down. Behind him, Christopher Bell and Ross Chastain, all 1 lap behind the 18 cars on the lead lap. There's McDowell.
I tell you what, boys, I don't know if you guys saw the guy that was a Grand Marshal that did the Gentlemen Start Your Engines yesterday for the Xfinity, but he was an auctioneer. He was awesome. Huge fan of that guy. Probably the best ever.
Atlanta-based company. A chance meeting with David Reagan brought that sponsorship to NASCAR, and they've become very busy here in the sport at Atlanta. Well, we're talking grip, we're talking tires, and since Guy Fieri wasn't available, here is our tire chef du jour, Larry McReynolds.
Well, Mike, you've heard Jamie and Regan talking about drivers saying, I feel like I'm just grinding the tires away. Remember, this surface at Atlanta Motor Speedway is 24 years old. Now, I don't have a cheese grater, but I still have my course file from a year ago, and what it's like, it's just like grinding on this tire. You can just see it the rubber just peels off. And that's what's happening every corner of every lap with those race tires at that Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's just grinding the rubber off that tire, and that's what those drivers are feeling. Same tire, same file from a year ago.
Larry, do you have any idea how many internet memes have been formed from you grinding on that tire?
It still lives, Mike. It still lives.
That's true.
Yeah, but it all comes down to balance on the race car. Give me an adjustment. I don't want to grind them off. I need a better hot rod, Larry.
All I got right now is a file, Clint.
Right. Fourth and fifth place. Matt DiBenedetto having an awesome run here for the Wood brothers. 12.7 seconds back. You know, in his Cup career, we used to start 43 cars and now 40 cars if we have 40 cars show up. Matt DiBenedetto has finished a Cup race in every single one of those positions but one.
But number 1.
Correct.
And if he stays out in this opportunity, he will get that. Yep. He's knocked on the door too many times. He's too talented. The team is too talented. Their time will come.
When I just think,
and it could come today.
And I think how close he was at Bristol just, a year or two ago, and how devastating that was to come up, to be that close and come up short.
Kyle Larson rockets off turn number 4. Let's crank it up for you.
Heck yeah.
Okay, a little momentum on you. Just you 2. Inside. Door. Right rear. Bumper. Clear. Now coming back outside. Outside, just hold your line here. Hold your line. Even with you. Inside, 8 back. Right rear. Still out out there. He's clear by a foot. Clear, clear, clear all the way, all the way, all the way. Now guard your bottom on him. He got a little run. Still loose. Still got one in front of him. One back. Outside, running the middle of the track, trying to get on your right side really hard here. He's on you tight. Typical Ross here outside. Lift it up now. Still there. On your quarter tie, clear in line. All clear, man. By one. Still 12 to 15 back to the 20. Not from the 15. Still by one. Very nice. One. Half on the bottom. Inside. Clear, clear. Slower to the middle up here. 5 on the front. It's just stupid fast. I'm on the bottom by one. Gonna come inside on exit. 5 back on the rear. He's running bottom both ends. My forward to the 78. Big hole behind that.
Fourth place has been a good battle here. Kyle Busch, Matt DiBenedetto. And Kyle up to fourth now. And their lap times only about half a tenth apart here, as we're 182 laps in and 77 laps into the 105 of stage 2.
Well, we saw Kyle Busch never really recover from when he was on the outside front row, and when we had that wreck, you know, he spun the tires. Hasn't quite recovered, but he has a fast race car. If we can actually get, you know, him up to the 5 car, or when this stage ends, I think he can give him a run.
You heard Bubba Wallace miss right there and how much he had to get out of the gas. You hear them tailpipes crackle. When you got to bail out that much, it's a big moment. A lot of speed lost.
Tell you what, though, the ride quality on Bubba Wallace's car is pretty impressive. We were in the visor camera, you know, from that view, and how well that car is handling the bumps. Might not have the balance and the grip of the 5 car Kyle Larson, but I think he's pretty happy with the way that car is riding over some of these bumps.
Look out.
Woohoo! I see Bubba Wallace also might be.
Look at him miss right there and get loose.
Yeah, he was behind the 41, Cole Custer.
And both of those drivers trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, and exactly what you just said, Jeff. It was Cole Custer taking the air off the front of the 23. He lost the nose, started putting wheel in, and as soon as it caught up, it unraveled, got really, really loose, washed up, and enabled the leader to get by and put him a lap down.
Jamie?
Yeah, and you guys mentioned that the 23 has gotten better. They've been working on it, going in the right direction. Talked to Bubba earlier today, and he said it's been all about continuing education with this team. He said coming over to 2311, we have so many resources, so many tools. He's doing more homework than he's ever done before, and not to mention trying to get to know this team. But they're definitely going in the right direction, coming off their best finish of the season in 16th last week.
Well, I'll tell you who's not. You can see Kyle Larson up there putting Cole Custer, the last of the SHR cars, a lap down. Certainly going to have to get back to the shop and figure some things out for that Ford camp and Stewart Haas Racing.
Larson with a 9-second lead. First of 15 cars on the lead lap as we take you Fox side by side.
this week on NASCAR Race Hub, presented by Wendy's. We're getting down and dirty. On Wednesday, we're putting the I in iRacing in a special Bristol Dirt iRacing event. Watch your favorite Cup Series drivers in the Pro Invitational. This week on The Hub, America's only daily NASCAR show.
Bristol and dirt all week long on The Hub, and our coverage at Bristol will start Friday with practice for the Cup cars, qualifying heat races on Saturday, and then of course the Bristol Dirt Race on Sunday.
Well, wait a minute. Not so quick. How about Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday. And by the way, boys.
Were you not listening to the promo? It was all about Wednesday.
Man, I cannot wait for Wednesday. Getting back to business, Jeff. That's where our relationship all started.
It did start there, didn't it? The chemistry all started there. But hey, Boyer's going to be behind the wheel.
I was going to say, the deep voice announcer said all your favorite NASCAR stars. And Clint Bowyer. Him too.
See, I don't know what I've brought. I'm a victim of my own creation in this booth already. Now I've made a jokester out of you, Mike, and the joke's on me.
So what do America's favorite drivers and Clint Bowyer think about going to race Bristol on the dirt? First time for the Cup cars in 50 years.
I'm excited just to see how the dynamic is. The truck guys have been doing Eldora for a few years now. I definitely think it's going to be a challenge. I'm curious to see how the cars drive and how they race.
There's going to be anybody that's got any notes or any experience level that's going to teach them how to do that. The dudes and the chicks that do it all the time, they're just going to know what to do with the mud and the dirt better than anybody else.
So spot on right there. I actually got on iRacing. I know that we're going to do this, and I know I have to race against these guys, so I may have jumped on and put some laps in at Bristol already.
Maybe.
Got some practice in, allegedly. But I'm telling you, right off the bat, I noticed how distinctly different turns 1 and 2 is in 3 and 4 in the dirt. You know,
Wow.
That's something that you don't have on the asphalt. They're exactly the same. On dirt, definitely different.
Second place here, Ryan Blaney going after Alex Bowman and moving up to second, 11 seconds back of Kyle Larson. 14 laps to go here in stage 2.
Yeah, we saw during that green flag pit sequence, the 48 of Alex Bowman was able to leapfrog the 12 of Blaney. Now Blaney showing he's got some good long run speed.
So here are the drivers that raced at Bristol on the dirt this week among the 1,400 drivers that were there. Clint, I know your car was there. Do you wish you had been?
Man, I tell you what, anytime there's a dirt race to be raced, yes, I always want to be on the racetrack. I'm looking forward to this more than anything. I cannot wait to see. You know, this week, it showed us everything. You want to talk about this Put It Out segment we have in pre-race? It showed how many. We could have the whole pre-race be nothing but Put It Out moments of Bristol this weekend. Cars upside down, beating and banging. Awesome racing going on over there at that dirt track, and it makes me excited to watch these NASCAR boys do work over there.
Well, we're so excited about this. It's not that it's just once in a generation, but it is the first time since September 1970 that the Cup Series has been on dirt. Raleigh, North Carolina half mile, Richard Petty the winner.
Well, what I love about this is we're going to see cars that are typically not on dirt. You know, we see all these dirt cars specifically built for dirt, late models, modifieds, all these other cool cars. We're going to take a car that's meant to be out here on this 1.5 mile Atlanta Speedway and put it on dirt, and then find out what drivers are going to be the most skilled behind the wheel. I think it's the most unpredictable race that we've had all year long. We've had a lot of those.
Well, you brought me right exactly where I wanted to go. Unpredictability. Now that I have this perspective, guys, from being up here watching these races, calling these races from the booth instead of being in that car, I, as a fan, like this unpredictability. I love going to these races. I can see that. That being said, nothing showcases that more than a dirt track. Bristol, the dirt conditions, as it slicks off, as it ages, as it wears out, trust me, it only gets more unpredictable.
Well, now, to your point, Jeff, back in 1970, teams did not have special cars for the dirt. There were only 3 dirt track races. Everything else was paved, plus twice at Riverside, California on the road course. So they just adapted the cars that they had, much like these teams are going to have to do next week.
Yeah, there's a few little areas. I'm sure Larry McReynolds could talk about what they're going to be capable of doing, similar to what we've seen with the trucks at Eldora. But other than that, there's not a lot they're going to be able to do. So what these guys do behind the wheel is going to be the biggest part. And of course, how they set these race cars up to manage that track and the different grooves and lines that we're going to see.
And we're getting down to the end of stage 2 right here. A lot of green flag running right now. We're hearing some reports that maybe the 22 has a tire coming apart. This is something that you would expect on a long run. These guys have been out here a long time.
Well, and this place grinds those tires down like Larry McReynolds showed us. And if your car's not handling good, then whatever part of the corner of that race car that is giving you the most fits, that you're damaging that tire, it's very possible, especially if you short pitted, right? You run a couple extra laps, you might cause more extra damage to that tire and pull it apart.
14 cars are on the lead lap. You're looking at Joey Logano, who is in the free pass position. The first car 1 lap down. Chase Elliott is the last car on the lead lap. 8 to go in stage 2.
Yeah, and if you're at home, you just heard me say he might have a tire coming apart. All right, well, how does he know that? How he knows that is he can feel the grip level going away drastically fast within that tire, just like you were talking about, Jeff. The second part is it'll start picking up that old vibration. And guess what? Vibrations, they don't get better.
Every little rattle and piece and debris that hits the fenders gets you really, really nervous. You're just hoping these 8 laps and 7 laps now click by quickly.
Denny Hamlin moves up to 8th, while Chris Buescher has run more laps in the top 10 today than in his last 5 starts here combined.
Fantastic.
How impressed I am with this race team and this driver, Chris Buescher. Not just today, but he's shown it. This is no fluke. He showed it at Homestead a few weeks ago.
Now behind him, Daniel Suarez trying to hang on for the final stage point. He has 2.5 seconds on Martin Truex. That's the gap from 10th to 11th.
I'm going to tell you what, that's a big deal, guys. If he can get a stage point here in the next 6 laps, if he can stay in that position, that is a big deal for this new race team.
Oh, brand new race team. The job that they're doing, and they came in right. They had a game plan. They had a strategy. They're working. They're getting better week in and week out. Running in the top 10 the way they're doing against the competition they have. This is, in my opinion, drastically overachieving, and great to see.
And making the most of this RCR equipment, because look at Austin Dillon, the day that he's having.
Alliance.
Regan?
Well, Jeff, you mentioned making the most of the RCR equipment. They're making the most of that alliance as a whole. Crew Chief Travis Mack, who is the normal crew chief. Yes, Jose Velasco is filling in today. He is actually back at Richard Childress Racing in the command center, watching this race, trying to do everything he can to still be a part of the team and communicate. So a little bit of credit to him as well for a fast race car and what he's been doing from the start. Team owner Justin Marks, he's not far from you guys in the booth up there. He's sitting in the suites watching everything going on right now.
That's a great point, and that's something you talk about alliance. All right, what do you get out of an alliance? That's pretty impressive. That's something that even caught me off guard right there. I wouldn't think, Richard Childress has invested a lot in this control room, the war room, so to speak. Letting those guys come over there and call the race and be a part of that, that's a huge advantage of being a part of an alliance like RCR's got going on.
So they have Austin Dillon in 7th, Daniel Suarez in 10th. While Tyler Reddick hit the wall early. They made repairs, but he's 3 laps down in 28th. There's a look at Reddick. He has quite a bit of right side damage, and you can see him fighting that car down to the bottom of the corner.
They've actually done a nice job repairing this car. The car has good speed. He just unfortunately lost those couple laps early on this race and has not been able to make them back up.
Three to go in the stage, and it's getting cooler here. The asphalt temperature down 10 degrees since the start of this race. And the pits are closed with 2 laps to go in the stage. You saw Corey LaJoie now 4 laps down. And Ross Chastain you're riding with at the tail end of being 1 lap down. So right now, looks like Logano may hold on for the free pass position here at the end of stage 2.
As long as that Goodyear tire holds up, he'll be fine.
Daniel Suarez looks like he may have a lock on that final stage point. Awarded to the top 10 at the end of each stage. He has more than 2 seconds on Martin Truex still. Starter has the green and white checkers in hand, waiting for Kyle Larson. And it's the 4th time that Kyle Larson has swept the first 2 stages of a race. Blaney, Bowman, Kyle Busch, and Byron. Back to Suarez in 10th. Kyle Larson, winner of stage 1 and 2. How do you make the best NASCAR season ever even better? Grab the Fox Sports app. Exclusive content, in-car cameras, and you can follow news and social feeds for your favorite drivers. So download the Fox Sports app, the go-to app for NASCAR fans, all season long. Welcome back to the Folds of Honor QuikTrip 500. We're at the end of stage 2, where Kyle Larson clearly ignored Jeff's advice on the radio at the end of stage 1
at all, was he?
And went out and stunk up the show. Pivotal pit stop here as we get ready to run the final stage of 115 laps. Joey Logano gets the free pass. Here's Jamie.
And Alex Bowman first up here. Feels like he's just pretty loose, having a hard time getting the car down to the bottom, and he needs help off of both ends of the corners. They'll help him there with 4 tires and air pressure. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch, car is all over the place. It's a mess, he said, in 3 and 4 air pressure again. Regan.
Well, Kyle Larson, the leader right now, talking about the cloud cover, trying to stay ahead of the adjustments. Right now, they're going to leave that car alone as it's very fast. The 12 car on the right, Ryan Blaney, that race car still bouncing. They can't fix that problem. Lucky break for them, though. They thought they might have had a loose wheel.
Ram race off pit road. William Byron gains 1. Denny Hamlin up 2.
Man, I honestly thought Blaney beat him.
Let's have a look.
Pit road.
There is the timing line.
I was wrong.
Ooh, that was
it
close.
was close.
He was gaining.
Wow,
oh
look
my
at that.
goodness. Talk about inches.
I'm going to Matty D, boys. I want Matty D. He's doing a good job.
Having a good day.
I can get a hold of him. Hey, Matty D's, boy, you're up in the booth. You got us?
Hey, Boyer, what's happening? I got you.
Hang on a minute. I got to find you. Man, you're doing such a good job. Loving what you see. What you start 20th, marching up through the field, doing a great job holding a pretty wheel. What do you got so far for the hot rod?
Yeah, man, the guys have done a good job. Driving the old Menards Maytag Mustang today. It's pretty good. We've had to adjust the air pressure. That's it. It makes for a solid day. No wrenches in the window. So, got a solid car. Hopefully we'll keep it up the rest of the way here.
Well, absolutely. We're holding strong on the restarts. It's going to be big right here. Looking forward to watching you. Take it, man. Let's do it. Elbows up.
Yes, sir. Thanks. Have fun up there, guys. Keep us entertained, Boyer.
Kyle Larson has now swept stage 1 and stage 2. Pit stops, a choreographed ballet, if you will. Everything to time, everything to position, everything in place, and everything on time.
Except.
And then there's this.
It's not fair. You guys shouldn't do that to me. We got this.
Oh, what?
Oh, yeah. My gosh.
I thought I was back at the club in Vegas. Yeah, that was definitely not the music I was dancing to, for the record. Thank you, Fox.
Yeah.
Thank you, Truck. Thank you, Artie, our director.
Yeah, let's focus
there
on
you go.
There you go. Way better.
So we know you lost 10 grand, but how many people split it? 181 winners. Pending verification of eligibility and all the fine print, that's $55 to each winner. Now, the next chance you'll have to win Clint's money will not be next Sunday. Wednesday night, we're going to give away Clint's money during iRacing.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wait, twice a week now?
That might be a little less predictable on Wednesday.
50 bucks. What'd you say it was? 50 bucks to each person?
55.
$55. All they had to do is go on the Fox Bet app, put in 6 picks, man. That's a lot of fun. 55 bucks.
Or as Jeff would say when dancing, 55.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, for the Geico Restart Zone. Now, 4 times, Kyle Larson has won the first 2 stages of a race, but he has never won all 3. Here we go.
Oh, Matty D, he pushed the 24 William Byron off in there and then turned off and turned underneath that and put him 3 wide. And here we go. We got a race now.
I think you tuned him up.
This is just exactly what a lot of these guys were looking for. Re-rack the deal, get an adjustment, give them new hope. See Daniel Suarez looking to the inside of Matty D right there. Good 3-wide battle.
Got room.
Can he make it stick? He's got those left sides on the paint.
Sure does.
Nice
and it's
job.
stuck down there. Drove it off in there big time.
Front 5, single file. Suarez on the bottom, trying for more. He's going to pop up in line in 6th. Here comes Blaney to the inside of Denny Hamlin.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Issue for Chase Elliott.
Makes you wonder right after a restart like this, was it a missed shift or something like that?
Caution. Jamie?
Well, they had just fixed that little hole area in the nose that he had where the paint had peeled back. And now he just told the team, I think it just blew up before I had the issue. And that's all he said, so he's bringing it back in. A lot of disappointed fans. The hometown boy, more issues here at Atlanta.
Blew up. Yeah. Or something. I don't know what happened. It's out of gear, but I guess it blew up before that. I don't know.
Big partisan crowd here of a couple of generations. His dad, Bill, had great success here at this speedway. Chase has run well here, but hasn't finished all that well.
Boom.
Wow.
I mean, it's not like it's
It wasn't
coming out
like
the
anywhere
pipe.
where you would, and it was also not somewhere where you would, you know, be shifting
Hey,
or
Jeff,
anything
Clint,
like that.
something made the RPM spike to over 9,500 over in turn 4.
Ooh.
Right before that happened.
Jumped out of gear or something. Maybe it could have been a
something let
failure.
loose.
Well, I mean, you know, a transmission gear, rear end gear, something like that broke and you know, zinged the motor.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, just as he came off turn 4, the RPM spiked way over 9,500. Not quite to 10 grand, but over 9,500.
And you heard him say it's not in gear. You know, it kicked out of gear somewhat. I'd say.
All right, Larry Mack. I know that trouble for the 9 on pit road. Now that opens up the door. What are they going to do? They only went about one lap.
Smoke them if you got them, baby. We got a lot of tires laying down in there.
Bubba Wallace gets the free pass, and pit road is open. Lead lap cars pretty much all in, Jamie.
Follow the leader. Whatever the 5 does, let's do it too. The 48 for some fresh tires, as well as Kyle Busch. They've been trying to make that car a little bit better. Let's go to Regan.
Well, Kyle Larson, the leader on the left bottom of the screen. They continue to work on that race car to try and make it better on the short run. The last adjustment was good. It fired off very well for him. The right, Ryan Blaney, that car needs a little security over the seams. That's all he's been asking for.
And Blaney may get out first here. He does.
Well, that's going to change things a bit.
Chase Elliott's hopes in Atlanta go up in smoke. We're under caution. In the early days of NASCAR, there's a young Richard Petty, a Curtis Turner. Most of the tracks were dirt surfaced. Just Darlington and the occasional trip on the Northern Tour to Thompson, Connecticut were the paved tracks, and look at them slip and slide and regain control. So for the first time in 50 years, the Cup Series on dirt, Bristol, next Sunday. Chase Elliott's day is done. He'll be the second car out of the race, joining Kurt Busch in the garage. And Kyle Busch too fast exiting pit road.
Oh no. Strong run going for them. If anybody can drive back up through the field, though, who's it going to be, Jeff?
Oh, it'll be this one. It'll be fun to watch coming up through there.
So 21 drivers elected not to pit and took the wave around. 5 of those will go back on the lead lap. Cole Custer, Kevin Harvick, Ross Chastain, Michael McDowell, and Eric Almirola. But their tires have 8 more laps of racing on them than the drivers who just pitted at the front end of the lead lap.
Yeah, but that was the opportunity that all those teams were looking for. 8 laps, but it's not that lap. It's not a whole lap down. They'll be able to stay up there, hopefully get to another caution here, save their day.
So Ryan Blaney chose the inside, Denny Hamlin outside. Matt DiBenedetto, Kyle Larson, row 2. Brian Newman, Alex Bowman, Stenhouse and Byron, Buescher and Suarez, the top 10. We now have 20 cars on the lead lap with the wave arounds and the free pass to Bubba Wallace. And we're coming to green. It'll be 101 laps to go.
Thoughts exactly, kid.
And I love watching them fan out through turns 1 and 2 on these restarts. All right, Blaney, show us what you got, man. You had a fast race car. Now you got the lead.
Great pit work, got him the lead. Their stop was 1.2 seconds faster than Larson's. Second fastest stop all year by any team. And the timing couldn't have been better.
And if you're Ryan Blaney, what you want to see is exactly what you're seeing in your mirror. You see the 5 cars side by side with the 11 and the 21, Matt D.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen Larson have to work this hard to make some passes since the start of this race.
And if you're Larson, you got to be careful not to overuse your tires right here. Making the passes, making the moves, getting back to the front. If you're not careful, those guys side driving. You see Denny Hamlin side driving off of him. Got to keep from abusing those tires as you're making these passes.
Second place.
Woo, that was close. Oh, crossover. Very, very close.
Yeah, you could not have cut it any closer than Denny Hamlin did right there. Let's see if Larson get a run. Yeah, he's going to get this run on the
Denny's
outside.
crowding him.
Surprised Hamlin couldn't come up to block. Didn't have enough time to get there.
He tried to.
I don't think he wanted to.
Okay. He wanted. I think he tried to. Just run out of room. He was wanting that spotter to call him clear and never heard it.
Yep.
What the 3, Austin Dillon.
Challenging DiBenedetto for 5th.
You know, Mike,
and Ryan Newman with them.
You brought up a good point earlier. You said it's cooling down. A lot more cloud cover, cooler temperatures, cooler track temperatures. That's going to throw all these cars for a little bit of a loop. That's why you're seeing better side-by-side racing, obviously amping up, getting closer to the end of the race. But don't think for a second that this track being cooler, giving these cars a little bit more grip, enabling them to race harder.
13th place to Truex over Logano, who is back on the lead lap.
Well, you can see the 12 of Blaney slid up off the bottom, could not keep those left sides on the paint.
Same thing for the 11 of Denny Hamlin in the rear view. I saw both of those cars slide up. The car that hasn't been doing that all day long, Larson, you can see him really hooked on the bottom right there. Won't be long.
Clint, one of the biggest challenges I always felt at this racetrack on a restart, you've got tons of grip on the first lap, but every lap the grip is quickly going away and you just don't know how much speed you can carry into the corner and still hook that paint down in the bottom.
Which is why you see these guys racing so hard for that lead, that point position, and having all that downforce on their car. It's so important.
Suarez has moved up to 7th, and here's Austin Dillon going for 5th on DiBenedetto. Jamie?
Well, Matt DiBenedetto is one of those teams, they've really been focusing on the weather. When the sun is out and it's hot, it's not good. They feel like they really lose some speed. Now that it's overcast, the wind has picked up, they feel like they're right where they were earlier. By the way, Matt DiBenedetto just passed for 6th, but he's having the race of the season as Chase Elliott makes his way toward us.
We saw on the graphic when Clint talked to Matt during the stage break that since a rough start at Daytona, every race has been a better finishing position all the way through to last weekend, trying to make that streak continue.
Yeah, and I said, I mean, you can't keep a good team down. Good driver, good team, good organization. They're going to rise to the top where they belong.
Jamie?
Well, it's just been one of those days for Chase Elliott. You guys just repaired the nose, and then boom, this problem. What do you believe happened, Chase?
Yeah, I don't. Obviously, we broke a motor there. Later on, we got some damage there on that restart with Kyle. Kind of spun his tires, and then I was pushing him, and Kurt was pushing me, and we all just really jammed together hard and ended up hurting the nose some. So I don't know if that had something to do with breaking the engine or not, but. Yeah, and I hate it for sure. You know, we feel like our car was pretty decent. We drove up there and was, you know, got up to whatever 10th or so at the stage. So felt like we were in a decent position to work on it throughout the day. But I appreciate all the effort. Great to be, you know, home in Georgia, home for me, home for Napa. wish we could have had a good result, but we'll try again in Bristol.
All right, Chase, we'll see you on the dirt next weekend.
So Chase Elliott will end up 37th with Josh Bilicki and Kurt Busch out of the race prior to his exit.
You see right here, the 5-car Kyle Larson, hounding the 12, trying to find a way around the, to get to the lead. And the 12-car using the mirror, doing a little mirror driving right there, and is exactly what he needs to do. As soon as he moved up and took his line, Jeff, in 1 and 2, you could see the rear end of the car or the 5-car get loose. That's the downforce that we talk about, and that's exactly what you want to do if you're Ryan Blaney. And if you're Kyle Larson, on the flip side of that, you got to be careful. Stay racing the racetrack, racing your car. Do not let him entice you into wearing your car, your tires out and abusing them.
Teammates racing for 8th place out of Roush Fenway Racing, which has a new co-owner this week. LeBron James has bought into the Fenway Sports Group, which includes, among other properties, half interest in Roush Fenway Racing.
Well, no wonder they're running better.
Well, hey, Michael Jordan's here. Why not? Let's get LeBron James involved.
I saw Shaq reaching out to Bubba this week.
And Brad Doherty's a team owner. Almost got a full team. Ryan Blaney, what is that on the lower grill?
I'm really close to my limit. You gotta see if I got trash.
Boy, it did not take long for him to have to give up this lead. Now he's going to try to get to the rear bumper.
Yeah, but he gave up too much ground right there. It's got to be a lot closer than that to try to get that debris off his grill.
It's starting to flutter.
Oh, there it is. Woohoo!
Whoa.
And you can see how hard he drove it off into the corner, trying to get close enough to do just that.
But that just goes to show you how on the edge these teams have the opening, the air all mapped out of how it cools these cars, aerodynamically how it helps them, because it only took a couple laps for that temperature to spike.
And don't think that same thing can't happen to the 5-car here.
Ryan Blaney caught a real break there unintentionally from Kyle Larson, who is once again leading the Folds of Honor QuikTrip 500. Fox NASCAR is sponsored by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Kyle Larson leading Ryan Blaney by a second and a half with 83 laps to go in Atlanta. Will anyone take him in our Credit One Bank ones to watch?
And Mike, I'm looking at Alex Bowman, big shoes to fill coming into 2021, driving the, one of the biggest numbers in the sport, 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson. Now he's got to take on all that pressure. He's having a career day here at Atlanta. He's never had a top 10. Today's in the top 5.
Jeff, I tell you who else is having a career day. Chris Buescher in that 17 car. He and Luke Lambert, they have been inside the top 10 the majority of this race. The last time a low grip 1.5 miles at Homestead, led a lot of laps, didn't capitalize, working on that top 10 today.
Oh, I'm going to up you one, Larry. I'm going to Daniel Suarez, running 7th, been in the top 10 all day with his Trackhouse team. Awesome, awesome performance out of Daniel Suarez and his bunch today. He's my man.
Well, Mike, you asked if anyone would take Kyle Larson. Absolutely, I'm going to watch Kyle Larson as this race plays out. Not only do they have a very dominant race car, but I love how much they've been looking forward as to what's going on in this race and thinking about what's to come on the next stop.
Well, then, Regan, I have to keep an eye on Ryan Blaney. He did both races up here for Fox yesterday, up in the booth, did a fine job. Maybe he learned something he can apply out there and keep this string of different winners to start the season alive and run it out to 6. And that's your Credit One Bank ones to watch. With 80 to go.
Tell you what, Denny Hamlin, he's our current points leader coming into this race, just having a solid season every weekend, so consistent, up in the top 5. Hasn't had that win yet 2021, but I think it's coming soon.
How about Austin Dillon in 5th? You know, we've talked about the Childress cars and Alliance cars being very strong today, with Suarez right behind him. But Austin looking for a top 5 here at Atlanta.
And then you got Matty D holding a pretty wheel today. Been solid all day long. Started 20, clear back in 20th, drove up through the field, established himself in the top 10. It's been there all day.
Tell you what, here's a guy I expected a lot more out of today. We saw how good he was in the Xfinity race yesterday. Almost won that race, ended up 2nd, but he's run so strong here in the past. That 1 mile and a half, or one of the 2 mile-and-a-half tracks here in Texas that Martin Truex Jr. has not won at. I thought he would be a factor.
William Byron ran a bunch of laps in the top 5 here today. He led 3 laps earlier, but has spent most of the day in the top 10. Our Miami winner.
Yeah, Kyle Busch right here. He's been all over the place. Been solidly in the top 5 running. Had a penalty right there on pit road, having to battle back his way back up through the field. Running 11th right now, but I don't think he'll be there for long.
Ricky Stenhouse in 12th place. He spent a number of laps here in the top 10. Last lap 33 flat. That's just about half a second off of what the leader is running right now. He is also recovering from an early speeding penalty.
A couple of dirt trackers talked about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now Ryan Newman. These guys are going to be fun to watch next week at Bristol, but today, not Ryan Newman putting together a pretty solid run here. Some good work on pit road also for that team.
Bubba Wallace got the free pass on the last caution, put him back on the lead lap, so he is currently 14th.
Got to fight. You just got to fight. Every lap you fight this racetrack, you fight the grip. Just like Kevin Harvick. Remember some of the issues that he had, that early flat tire, and how he's had to fight back to get on the lead lap, and 15th right now.
Joey Logano, you said it, Jeff. Fight. You got to fight this racetrack. It is a battle all day. 500 miles of battle, as a matter of fact. Very, very tough racetrack to get a hold of, and Joey's kind of struggling today.
Ross Chastain overcame an uncontrolled tire penalty back at the pit stops at the end of stage 1. He's overcome that. And of the 5 drivers in position 16 through 20, he's the only one racing as well as he restarted on the last restart. So Cole Custer now the second of the Stewart-Haas cars behind Harvick. And again with the wave around on the last caution, he's back on the lead lap. Michael McDowell, our Daytona winner. in 19th. He's also had a free pass to get him back on the lead lap and took the wave around, as did Eric Almirola, who is the last car on the lead lap in 20th place. And there's Eric, 24 seconds back of the lead, but back on the lead lap. 72 laps to go in Atlanta. Kyle Larson has led 205 laps so far. .67 laps to go in the Folds of Honor QuikTrip 500. First of 2 Cup races this year at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's have a look at today's Toyota top performers. Denny Hamlin in 3rd. Martin Truex 9th. Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace on the lead lap. Christopher Bell got a lap down early and has not been able to get himself back up onto the lead lap so far. Been an up and down day for Martin Truex.
Way too bouncy on the left front, and it's real tight going in. Same thing we've had all day. No issue with that setup that we ain't gonna fix. We're just gonna have to battle on and make the most of it. Yep, I've been battling all day, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of the, if that thing's stiff on the left front, right, that's about where they're at with the shock and spring. You're not going to be able to fix that. Not even any packer change or any major adjustment you can make on pit road is going to fix the harshness of the ride on that left front.
Yeah, it's so important to ride those bumps. You know, Jeff, you and I know, everybody that's been on this racetrack, that massive bump getting into one. When I heard him talk about how it loads up and unloads off of that left front, right here, it thing throws you all over the place. If it doesn't ride over that bump, over that swell and land and stay connected, you're in big trouble.
Telemetry lower left on of your screen on Ross Chastain. Full throttle, that is the green arc. Yellow is steering wheel angle.
It shows that higher line. It's much smoother when you run this line, sort of straddling that seam that matches those pavement lines or lanes. And you know, when you go to the bottom, the car loads up. There's some much harsher bumps. Let's see what he does down here.
Now here's the bump that I was talking about. As he gets in right here, watch him. He won't. Right there. I think you can almost hear it.
You heard the skirts start to hit the racetrack.
That's a pretty massive bump. Now you run to get to aero side of things with these cars. You definitely have them right down on the track. You run this suspension very rigid, so it makes these bumps, you know, magnitude big time. You can see it. As soon as it gets to those bumps, it gets that old hospital hop going on right there. That's what's tricky.
Yeah, well, you loads, unloads, loads, unloads through those bumps, and that's why you're trying to catch it with your steering wheel and the throttle. Cars jumping all over the place.
You know, you can see prime example of what we talk about Harvicking. You see how he held it so much lower on around the corner than did Bubba Wallace right in front of him. That is a key to having success and being able to keep your tires underneath of you on a long run.
And he makes it look so easy, and it's interesting that not many people do exactly what you just said, Clint, being patient enough and disciplined enough to keep the left sides on the paint much longer before you get wide open.
But the next side of that, what you just saw right there, is Bubba took his line. He wasn't able to do that in 1 and 2. Made him go up in 1 and 2 and run the outside, and you can see how far the difference was. He really lost a lot of ground having to run that outside.
So Larry, 61 laps to go. What are you working on?
Yeah, Mike, we went back racing after that last caution with 101 laps to go. So I'm going to say somewhere around 50 to 55 to go right there. That's when we'll see green flag stops. But two key elements. Remember, the last two pit stops, Ryan Blaney's crew has been about a second faster than Kyle Larson's crew. And you cannot have no mistakes, speeding, uncontrolled tire, nothing like that if this comes down to this green flag stop.
Yes, we've only been interrupted twice for incidents today. Back at lap 113, Kurt Busch got shoved into the wall on a restart. And then at lap 220, Chase Elliott lost an engine, and those were the cautions other than the stage ends.
Using that lapper as a pick right there. Good heads up driving. You look for those opportunities. You know, you can see that. Oh, look at here. Speaking of opportunities.
Oh, 19's got an issue. He's coming to pit road.
But you look for that as a pick. You know, you can see that coming laps ahead. Set yourself up when you're making a pass. Set him up as you catch that lap.
This is actually a scheduled stop, it looks to me like.
I'll tell you what their issue is. They're tired of their old tires.
Regan.
Well, the 19 of Mark Truex Jr. been a little bit of a struggle for this team today. Big adjustments 2 stops ago. Still hasn't gotten that race car to where they want. And the 24 of William Byron, they keep making gains on it, but he has been free all day long. Just can't get the right rear into the racetrack like he needs.
Cole Custer is in. Michael McDowell, Alex Bowman. Here comes Austin Dillon and Daniel Suarez. Jamie.
Alex Bowman's done a nice job keeping in the top 5 today. His biggest struggle right now is to keep it turning, especially in traffic. They're going to try some adjustments. Those didn't help last time. Kyle Busch drove into the top 10 after that last speeding penalty. And the 3 has been the show of the day. Great run for Austin Dillon. 4 tires, Regan.
Daniel Suarez continues his strong run right now. That race car, not too bad for him, but right now it started to get a little bit tight with the front at the end of that run as we see a close call leaving the pits. And the 22 of Joey Logano, he has been battling this car nonstop all day long. Tight at the moment with that race car.
So 5 lead lap drivers have yet to come to pit road as Kevin Harvick comes in and Denny Hamlin makes his stop. Jamie.
Kevin Harvick, I don't think he's done yet, guys. They have been fighting slowly but surely to come back. He's on the lead lap. Just needs to turn better. It's been the problem since the beginning of this race. Look at how much tape is on the front. They add another one to the 4 car.
And here's a heartbreaker. Daniel Suarez, too fast exiting.
Oh, no. That's my guy.
Regan.
Well, Kyle Larson, our leader, getting to the pits just now. That race car is just lacking a little bit of grip this run. Still very fast, but needs overall grip with it. And on the left side of your screen, Ryan Blaney, his race car's a little bit too tight in turn 3 right now. A small adjustment for that.
So everyone but Eric Almirola has made their stop.
You
among
hear
the
him
lead
say
lap cars.
lack of grip. I think that takes my mind right back to, him not having that lead right off the bat, having to run side by side, running those tires harder on the front side of that run than he wanted to, I think that leads itself to having less grip towards the end.
No doubt. You see that green flag sequence, 5-team Kyle Larson there on pit road cleaned it up and had a really nice stop compared to the 12 car. They've been getting beat this last couple stops, but not that time.
And I think they learned from last week, don't beat yourself. Be patient on pit road. We've got a big lead. Take your time, no mistakes.
Almirola is in, and that will complete the green flag stops.
Speaking of mistakes.
That's never good.
You're going to have to turn around, do something. Oh, we're in bad trouble.
Anthony Alfredo 1 lap down and finally gets to his pit stall.
Oh, is he over?
Oh, now you got to back up. Here's a look at what happened.
Oh, I mean,
very, very. Oh, man.
That was so close.
So close.
I mean, it looks to me like maybe he just overshot his stall, didn't quite get turned in fast enough and got on the brakes and the car spun around.
That's not only going to hurt him, that was a massive setback for the 10 car as well with Eric Almirola.
And then he got confused because he could have just pulled into the stall and got serviced facing the wrong way, but chose to spin it around. Yep, inexperience. So Larry, 55 laps to go. We know from what you told us in pre-race they can make it on fuel, but would you want to go this whole 55 laps on this one set of tires?
You don't want to, but that's what they're going to do. If we do not have a caution, you've got what you've got here right now. So let's take a look at this set of green flag pit stops. Remember, this is the 2 laps, including the trip down pit road and the pit stop. And the man that needed it right there, the guy that's dominated this race, that 5 crew of Kyle Larson. You see Ryan Blaney down there 4th. They had a lot of trouble trying to index the right rear tire, trying to get the new one up on the hub.
What I like about this graphic is this is a combination of the driver getting on the pit road, down pit road, off pit road, and the job that pit crew is doing in the pit box.
Absolutely, total team effort for sure.
Well, let's talk tire wear. Jamie.
Well, we haven't really talked about it or seen tire wear, but check this out. The right front that just came off of Austin Dillon's car. They said chunking. I am looking at cords underneath there all the way around the inside of this tire. He's happy to get those fresh tires, Regan.
Well, another car that's got that same issue, Jamie, right now is actually the 5 car of our leader, Kyle Larson. He has had a little bit of tire wear all day long. Nothing quite as bad as what we saw right here on this last stop, though.
That was always something, Mike. I didn't want to see those tires. Just tell me, are we good or not? Don't give me any particulars. I don't need to see chunks in the tires, but those things are so strong.
So I want to hear from Larry when we come back. You're asking drivers to go almost 70 laps on this set of tires. You just saw what happened to some 45 lap tires under green. Side by side. 45 laps to go. You're watching our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. For those that push the limits of possibility, Goodyear, more driven. Nice crowd in the stands, as many as the state of Georgia would allow. You heard a greeting from Governor Brian Kemp before we started today's race. Happy to have Georgia open and to have fans in the stands here at Atlanta, and a lot of families. Yep, a lot of families.
It's a family outing. Unfortunately, a lot of those fans up there a little disappointed. Their hometown guy, Chase Elliott, having some issues.
Already headed to the house.
Yeah, he to update him, he'll finish 38th. That's Josh Bilicki is back out on track, 37 laps back. So Elliott and Kurt Busch are the 2 cars out of the race. Kyle Larson with a 3-second lead now on Ryan Blaney. Let's go back to our last round of green flag pit stops. We're going to speed it up for clarity here between Larson and Blaney.
So this is turns 3 and 4 coming to pit road. Blaney does a pretty nice job getting to the line.
I think you're going to see a really good pit stop right here.
So if they had pitted at the same time and were side by side where we started this, here's how they would come out.
In and out of the box. You see, one of the things I saw was the 12 car Ryan Blaney was really deep in his box, almost slid through it, and then gets really beat. So this is what I was talking earlier about, you know, that Monday morning meeting at the competition meet. He's going to see that illustration and see how bad he got beat off and be like, man, I got to do better right there. Been there, done that.
Teammates for 6th place.
Great job of Kyle Busch right here, bouncing back, battling back from that pit road speeding penalty, inching back towards the front for sure.
And let's update Kevin Harvick for you, because he has struggled all day. Had an extra pit stop right after the competition caution at lap 25 when they had a valve stem break on their stop under caution. He has fought his way back up to 12th and may well have a top 10 in hand by the day's end.
This is why when you give Kevin Harvick a good race car, why he goes up there and usually wins the race, because he said this is the worst car he's ever driven around here, and he's 12.
Then you got Brad Keselowski, not so lucky here. A lot of damage, unfortunately enough to knock him out of running for a win. 3 laps down right here, not looking good for old Brad.
Tell you what, Blaney's really kind of been the guy, right, for Penske today. We've seen where Blaney's been up front right from the beginning, very competitive, and I expected the 22. Maybe the 2, Keselowski, you know, we can discount that because he has that damage, but Logano also, he's been struggling with what I believe is not really any damage to that race car.
And DiBenedetto, who's a Penske affiliate with the Wood brothers, in the top 10. For much of the day, including right now. "16 seconds off the lead, and his 32.70 last lap, just about a quarter second off what Kyle Larson ran.
So, Mike, before commercial, you were talking about how many laps these drivers will have to run, and I have been crunching numbers ever since. So let's go to Austin Dillon that Jamie Little reported on. Remember, we went back racing at lap 224. They ran 43 laps. They're going to have to go 58 laps to make it to the checkered flag based on when they pitted right there. Regan Smith reported on our leader, Kyle Larson. He pitted with basically 45 laps on his tires. He's going to have to go 56 laps. Very doable fuel-wise, but based on those 2 tires that Jamie and Regan reported, it's definitely going to be borderline. But I promise you, everybody out there right now is planning on running this thing to the end should we not get a caution.
Well, let's listen to a little strategy on Alex Bowman.
Yeah, 3.5 seconds to P2, 6 tenths to P4 right behind you. We got gonna have to put 58 laps on this set. Our longest so far has been 51. So we've been doing a nice job keeping it nice and clean. 10-4.
That's Crew Chief Greg Ives for Alex Bowman. You know, anytime I was in a situation like this, I wanted to know just enough information about that tire so that I could gauge how hard I'm pushing the limits of that tire from the green. You know, the second I get back on the racetrack, trying to manage it all the way to the end. But for the most part, what I was thinking is, as long as I'm not the first one with the tire issue, then I'll be okay. And that's why you don't necessarily want to be the first one down pit road.
Here's your progressive race summary with 35 laps to go. 6 different leaders. Kyle Larson's led 242 of 290 laps. 12 lead changes, and now 17 cars back to Cole Custer on the lead lap. 5 caution flags, including the stage breaks. So Larry, if you're in the top 3, or let's say you're within 5 seconds of the leader, could you pit without losing a lap? And if you did, would that draw everybody else back to pit road under green?
Mike, you're going to go a lap down if you make a green flag stop. Because one, if you pit, you're going to do 4 tires. And so it's just not going to be enough time to make up that difference.
Well, I'm running out of options. Boys, help me.
Doing a great job, Mike.
Wednesday night, iRacing on the Bristol Dirt, and then we will have practice for you for the Camping World trucks and the Cup cars on Friday. Saturday, qualifying heat races for both divisions and the truck race, and then Sunday. Cup cars on dirt, first time in 51 years. All from Bristol Motor Speedway.
Oh man, what a week we have ahead of us. Clint and I might get over there a little early to play around in that dirt.
Well, Larry, if I'm out of options, let's talk trends with 32 laps to go.
Mike, I've been trying my best to work with you on this strategy, but I just can't make the dots connect. But remember, it worked for us at Phoenix last week. I've looked at the last 10 spring Atlanta races, and the last caution average about lap 298, 27 laps to go, which is about 5 laps from now. But 6 times in those 10 races, it came in the final 20 laps. And we've also had 3 overtime finishes in the last 10 races.
Oh, okay.
I love that hero shot of myself right there.
Looking good there, Larry Mack.
You know, we talk about the intel, you know, the information that crew chief is telling the drivers. We heard that. All right. We know that we're already blistering tires. We saw those damaged tires down there after that last pit stop. Now we have longer to go. You've got to tell that guy, hey, man, you got to save these tires. You got to be careful. Okay, well, how do I do that? I back off the corner. I try not to lean on that wheel as hard as I was. Off the corner. I don't want to buzz those tires. Give it up a little bit on the throttle. Be easy on these tires. Look at the rubber that just bounced off that car right there. That's all stuff we're talking about.
And Clint, to your point, there was a little bit of lap traffic there that Kyle Larson went through, but Ryan Blaney in second place closed in almost a second right there, and I think that's Kyle Larson trying to take it nice and easy. Regan, you got something on Ryan Newman?
Well, it's been a steady run for Ryan Newman all day long, right around the top 10 for the majority of it, but he just came on the radio a few moments ago and said, I'm switching to battery 2. I don't know what's going on. Team told him, turn all your switches off, so here's a team that maybe wouldn't mind a caution here to get a fresh battery in that car. Sounds like they got an issue.
I would think at this point, you know, going to battery 2, turning your AC off, unfortunately, as a driver, you don't want to do that on a 500-mile race. But if you shut all that stuff off, switch to battery 2, you should be able to make it to the end.
Ryan Newman trying to hang on to a top 15 finish here as Cole Custer goes a lap down to Kyle Larson. 29 laps to go as we take you side by side. Kyle Larson just ahead here. He crosses the stripe with 23 laps to go. Bubba Wallace trying to fight back on the inside. Larson with 2.5 on Ryan Blaney and 8 seconds on Alex Bowman.
Trying to fight back to stay on the lead lap. Your Bubba Wallace.
Well, just stay connected to him as much as possible. You know he's going to march up there. It's important to try to stay right here in the Lucky Dog's position.
Joey Logano is the last car on the lead lap now. Looks like he's about 3 seconds ahead of race leader Kyle Larson on the racetrack. Denny Hamlin cruising in 4th, about 10 seconds back. Observed this.
Yeah, I know. I'm watching their traces, man. God, they don't look good, I promise you. But keep doing it, man. Lock in. Keep doing it.
I agree, Denny.
It's hard to give any more motivation to your driver when you're looking at everything. You're like, yep, you're right. There's more throttle, more speed through the corners. What are you going to do, man?
So when he says, you know, I'm looking at their traces, what is he seeing, Jeff?
Yeah, so he's actually going, again, we talked about this telemetry that comes from the cars, the SMT data that they have that shows throttle, steering wheel, brake pressure, and it shows RPM and speed of those cars and where you're getting beat and your comparison to other team or cars and drivers. And so that's the thing that he's measuring. Larry, you got some more on some of that data?
Yeah, I do. Looking at Denny Hamlin, in the middle of each end of the racetrack, the middle of 1 and 2, 3 and 4, he has to get completely off the throttle just for a brief moment. Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney never come completely out of the throttle at either end, even this far into a run.
And that's been something that has been a trend for us at this racetrack. When the cars have good balance, have good grip, they just don't have to come all the way out of the throttle.
Well, let's talk about that balance of the grip. You know, you got two different equations of these race cars. You got aero grip and you got mechanical grip. And right now, on a track like this, a wore-out surface like Atlanta, you've got to make the most out of both. And the way you do that, you got to get through the rough, bouncing and beating and banging. You got to have, the bump stops, the shocks, the springs, all working together to optimize your mechanical grip. But you got to have a good body on that hot rod.
Texan Chris Buescher is optimizing that. He just took 7th away from Martin Truex. Buescher having a strong run here.
And I'd like to hear how his right front or right rear tires have been looking all day, because some of these drivers, I believe, might be nursing those tires, trying to get them on this longest potential run of the day here. There's that telemetry comparing Kyle Larson to Denny Hamlin. And you see right there, Larson's not getting 100% out of the throttle. Let's watch Denny Hamlin as he goes into turn 3. Yep, there you go, all the way out of the throttle.
Had to bail all the way out to keep the front end turning, to slow the car down to hook the bottom.
And it took him a long time to get wide open on the exit of the corner also.
Let's go back to 6th place, and Austin Dillon, 17 seconds off the lead.
The right front tire. Tell them to close that valve if it helps, or use it for pressing.
Closing that valve, that's an aero valve. It's just exactly what I was just talking about. You got mechanical grip, you got aero grip. Some of the aids that you have to your expense inside the race car, there's a NACA valve right there trying to affect the balance of the car, trying to make that thing turn as much as possible to keep from leaning on that right front. Again, nursing this thing home. Very, very important to make sure that you take care of these tires and get this to the end of this longest run of the day. Very hard to do.
Boy, I don't see anything, but that sounded like a tire going down.
Yeah, I thought I heard something too, but you see right here.
I think it was Andy back here in the back. Maybe fell down on us.
Guys, I don't know if you see here. This 12 car, Ryan Blaney, is closing in fast. He's within under a second now of a lead for Larson to Blaney. So,
well, you said it. He's the only one that can match his speed as far as holding the throttle down, leaving the throttle down, and not having to bail all the way out, coming on quick. And it's actually what I saw right there is having Kyle Larson looking in the mirror, searching around for a line. I guarantee you, he said, "Hey, where's he catching me? What's he doing different?" You saw it right there. It moved up in 1 and 2.
So just when it looked like Kyle Larson was going to euthanize the field here, Blaney has mounted a charge.
Well, not to mention the 5 of Kyle Larson has to deal with Blaney's teammate, Joey Logano, trying to stay on the lead lap. Regan?
Well, Clint, you just mentioned, I guarantee you that he listened and said, where is he running? Take a listen to this radio from Kyle Larson just now.
No need to overdrive it. Nice and smooth. Just in your mark.
Where's he running?
He's running the bottom through 3 and 4, top through 1 and 2.
Now, see, I would have looked for a little bit more information out of my spotter than that right there. I don't want to know just that he was running the top. I need to know more information. Where is he running? Is he running a seam? Is he running the wall? Is he running the first seam, the second seam? How is he running that top?
Yeah, so you see Kyle Larson's in the middle of that lane, that middle lane, but look at the 12 of Ryan Blaney. He was straddling that seam down through turns 1 and 2, and then going up high, to your point, up against the wall. I agree. I would have wanted more information than just he's running high or low.
So 13 laps to go. Here's one for you. All 4 of Ryan Blaney's Cup victories have come with a pass for the lead in the last 10 laps.
Oh boy. That's the trend.
Certainly.
I like when I'm up here wanting to see a good battle to the end.
It got me on my feet, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I thought this was clearly the 5 cars race to win, and I tell you, it goes back to that last pit stop. Looking at those tires, his right front was one of them that was having a little bit of issue. I can't help but to think that he has is trying to nurse this thing home as well. This is such a hard thing right here.
Well, Hendrick Motorsports has become the master of the 1.5 miles this season, but if Kyle Larson wins this race, it'll be the first time in his career that he's swept all 3 stages and went to victory lane, and it'll be the first time he has ever led more than 200 laps in a race and gone to victory lane.
Boy, look at Blaney is really closed up right here. And Logano, is doing exactly what he needs to do. He's the last car on the lead lap. He's not really trying to block for his teammate. He's trying to stay on the lead lap, but it is making it very difficult. You see the back end start to step out on the 5 of Kyle Larson.
Inside 10 to go. Kyle Larson has led 267 of 315 laps today. Had to check up a bit for that lapped car of Joey Gase. And Blaney charges forward. Here we go.
Yeah, Blaney's car just looks like it's doing what he needs it to do right there. I mean, he ran the bottom, the 5 of Larson ran the top. Blaney still closed in on him.
All right, let's listen to Kyle Larson's spotter.
Oh, Blaney worked that high line perfectly right there.
Big time. Here he is. Looking to the inside.
Whoa, lead change and almost a collision. But will it stick?
Well, now with the 22 affected 12.
Teammate of Ryan Blaney coming right here with a lap car. I just see the 5 car going away.
Yeah,
he talked about the grip level of his car on that last stage and how it really fell off at the end. Needed some overall grip is what he said. You can see it right now.
And you saw right there, Logano moved up the racetrack to let his teammate and Kyle Larson go on by.
Yep. And Ryan Blaney leads for the 4th time today.
With 7 laps to go.
Exactly like you said, Mike.
That's pretty frustrating if you're Kyle Larson and you see Logano, as soon as the 12 of Blaney gets the lead, he just moves up the racetrack.
Take it off, man. Regroup, you're going to get it. Regroup, you'll get it.
I hate Logano, man.
Don't give up, man. Stay on him.
Well, I think we know how he feels about the situation.
Well, again, earlier we talked about this. You look for opportunities to make this pass and pounce on that guy, right? And when you find the lapper, you try to time that. If you're Ryan Blaney, you look up and that lapper just so happens to be your teammate, you're grinning from ear to ear.
Car bounced off the wall in 1, continued through 2. It's Corey LaJoie.
Way off the pace right here.
Slow in the back straightaway. I believe he did get the wall in turn 1, Clint. No indication from the flagman, and LaJoie makes it down to the track apron as the signal goes out for Ryan Blaney. 5 laps to go. LaJoie makes it around to pit road and out of harm's way. Ford won the last 4 races here. 2 for Keselowski. 2 for, was it Logano? No, Harvick. Excuse me. Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski have split the last 4 here. Mustangs going for 5. And our streak of different winners would extend to 6.
Mike, you told me it'd be more than 16. You're looking good.
The whole time here I was like, no, we're going to have a repeat winner, and Kyle Larson's been dominating this race. And then boom, out of nowhere, basically, Ryan Blaney just puts together one heck of a final run here to the checkered, if he can hold on.
But Jeff, he's been good all day. Kyle Larson's been great all day. But Blaney and that number 12 team, they had the second fastest pit stop of the year to get him the lead, and he's just been very, very consistent, and here he is.
And Mike, that's why we race.
Yes.
We race every lap. It's never over till it's over, as we're proving right here again.
And if you're Kyle Larson, you're surrounded in Penske. He's got Ryan Blaney, both of Ryan Blaney's teammates right in between him. Boy, he is in bad shape right here. This is going to be a tough one to swallow if you're Kyle Larson. Dominated this race only to get past inside of 10 to go. Very, very frustrating.
And the sun pops back out for these final 2 laps. 14 cars on the lead lap. And here's your white flag. 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank. 3rd generation star. 27 years old from High Point, North Carolina. Won last June at Talladega. Previous best finish here, 4th.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Did not see this coming at all.
Ryan Blaney wins the Folds of Honor QuikTrip 500 in a shocker after Kyle Larson dominates the day but finishes 2nd.
Nice win there for crew chief Todd Gordon also.
How about that, boys? Great job, everybody. Now, awesome drive all day long, man. Awesome drive.
Mike, you said it. He was up in the booth for both races, truck race and the Xfinity race. Whatever he learned up here, he applied it right there in those closing laps.
That is the most excited I have ever heard YRB, young Ryan Blaney.
Well, he's got plenty to be excited about. Buddy Bubba Wallace giving him a little
huge
tap.
comeback for a lot of drivers. I mean, looking through here, Kyle Busch coming back to top 5. Kevin Harvick coming back to a top 10 after the day he did. A great battle back for those guys.
Chris Buescher,
and then Ryan
Dillon,
Blaney.
6th.
I can't believe it. I honestly cannot believe what just happened. Did not see that whatsoever. I mean, once the 5-car Kyle Larson started losing the grip on those tires, you could just see it. It was almost immediately flip of a switch, and that car was up on top of the track, slipping, sliding around, and Blaney was, hey, I think his nickname is, his dad's name is Bullet, right?
The Buckeye Bullet.
Yep.
But we've seen this before. March of 2017, Kevin Harvick led 292 laps, but did not win. Penske again with Brad Keselowski went to victory lane. You can dominate here, but they pay the money on the last lap.
Big day for Ford. Big opportunity for them.
5 in a row here.
Yep.
.129th career win for Team Penske. Spread among 9 drivers. And here is the winning pass.
You see Kyle Larson goes down to the bottom. Joey Logano right in front of him. And the 12 of Ryan Blaney just rails it on the top, gets a huge run down the front straightaway. Nothing that Kyle Larson could do to hold him up right there.
No, I think the damage had been done. I mean, his tires were used up. He was along for the ride. And just like he said, he didn't want to see that 22. And from the couch, you would think, man, he's a long ways away from him. That little bit of arrow off of that car is going to make you tight. And when you're struggling with grip, the rest is history.
So, Larry, how long did Ryan Blaney run on that last set of tires?
Well, he last pitted, Mike, at around lap 269. So that was 56 laps to go is what he ran on those tires. So
wow.
Never saw any issues with that 12 all day long.
Balance. I talked about it all day long. It's so important to have that balance on your race car. Keep from leaning on one end or the other.
He led 25 laps today, including the last one. Regan.
Ryan Blaney hopping out of the car to salute the fans. Grabbing the checkered flag after a long day's work, and
it's fixing to make a fan's day right here.
Young fan with the Ryan Blaney shirt on.
How cool is that?
Making memories, Ryan, on the racetrack and off the racetrack. We get to the end of the race. All of a sudden, your car came to life. You guys worked on this car all day long. At the end of the race, it was the best car.
Yeah, you know, we had a great long run car all day. It took us a little bit to get going, and I was pretty free all day. And so we made a really good change to tighten me up where I needed it. And it looked like Kyle was getting loose. And I'm happy it worked into our favor that there was a couple long runs at the end that let us kind of get there. And he got stoved up behind some lap traffic. But really proud of this whole, Body Armor, Menards, number 12 group, man. We've been good this year and had some bad breaks. And it's nice to close out a race like that. That was awesome.
Did a very nice job closing the race out. I got to ask you, though, you were in the Fox booth for 2 races yesterday. Was it what you learned in the booth with us that was able to propel you to victory?
Oh, definitely. I might have to start doing it every week, I guess, now. But, thank you all for coming out. It's awesome to see fans again. It's really cool. But, thank you, Body Armor, Menards, Ford, Dex Imaging, Advanced Auto Parts for what they do. We couldn't do it without them, and looking forward to sliding around a little bit more next week at Bristol.
And what a dominant day for Kyle Larson. Won 2 stages, led 268 laps. What a performance today, Kyle. But how would you describe where your car went that last run when Blaney was closing?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he just got a lot better there that last stage, and it kind of changed up my flow of the race a little bit. I could get out to such a big lead, and then I could take care of my stuff and run the bottom where it was maybe slower, but I could take care of my tires. And he was fast there, and I just wanted to maintain that gap that I had, so I had to run on the faster part of the racetrack and just use my stuff up. And then he was just a lot better than me there late in the run. So hate to lead a lot of laps and lose, but really good car that we brought to the track. Our HendrickCars.com Chevy was stupid fast there for a long time. I don't really know. I don't know if we got that much worse or he just got way better. And like I said, it just kind of changed up the flow of my race.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yep.
Mike?
Thanks, Jamie. A shocker. Ryan Blaney runs down Kyle Larson and gets to give away the checkered flag to a lucky young fan who is in disbelief that he has captured the flag here in Atlanta. How about that? More from Atlanta right after this.